Already with a captain's log, huh? Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. This is the Nathan Ivy Show. I'm live, I'm local and vocal, broadcasting live from beautiful Cincinnati, Ohio, city of my birth. And as always, it's my pleasure to be with you. There it is. I'm white shirt fresh. Got a meeting a little bit later on today, so I'm throwing a tie, so I want to get ready. Great to be with you. It is a beautiful Thursday morning in the Queen City. And we have a lot to talk about. Last night, there was the first Democrat presidential debate. Of course, the incumbent is a Republican. His name is Donald Trump, if you haven't heard about it. You heard about that guy? Donald Trump? Yeah, he's in the White House right now. If you don't already know so, you can jump on over to YouTube, to my YouTube channel as I'm fleshing it out, adding more elements every single day, and check out the live video stream if you're into that kind of thing. I know it's early in the morning. You might be getting ready. You might be in a situation where, you just can't watch the show, but you now have another option. Hey, good morning, everybody. And a lot to talk about. Yesterday was a super great day for me. Very busy day. Got a chance to connect with some people, producing a 2 more podcast that I think that you will enjoy if you live in the Cincinnati area and beyond. And you'll hear a teaser tomorrow of them and get a chance to check it out. Also tomorrow, 12:30 p.m., make sure that you check out the next Is It Just Me podcast with Donyetta Bailey, a.k.a. Donnie B. She looks at the world and comments, and there's a lot to comment about, so stay tuned for that. If you want to give me a call this morning, 513-873-7134, that is my number. Let me see if I can put that number up on the, there it is. That's my number up on the screen for all my YouTube friends, and you can check out the show at your leisure. Again, 513-873-7134. See, we got a pretty long captain's log here. What in the hell? What? I'll get to that in just a second, man. But did you get a chance to watch any of the presidential debate last night? And for me, I had talked about and thought about doing a watch party. It just wasn't enough turnaround time. That, and I felt like, let's wait until, some of the fat gets trimmed off, so to speak. And then we'll weigh in and we'll jump in and do a watch party probably on the next round. You got 20 contenders, right? 10 last night, 10 tonight, and they're going to duke it out. Last night, it wasn't super aggressive, okay? And I'm not here to tell you I saw every moment. I probably missed 5 or 10 minutes here or there, just in and out. Just in and out of the television room. But I want to know if you got a chance to watch it. If you didn't, guess what? There's another one tonight. If you didn't, guess what? In a couple of weeks, there'll be more. So you definitely have time. You definitely have time. If you didn't get a chance to watch the first presidential debates last night. It's quite interesting. To me, it seemed like a lot of what they were talking about was left of center. And even though Elizabeth Warren, she didn't dominate the conversation, I think the policy directions that she's already been on record to support definitely did dominate the conversation. Elizabeth Warren was the first person to be asked a question. She was the first person to say the word African American. But I thought there was some pretty good responses. And I thought that overall, it was an interesting first step. Nothing more than that. I don't want to talk it up or talk it down. It was what it was. Okay. Did you get a chance to watch? If not, I've got clips for you and we'll break it down this morning. On the local scene, there's a couple of stories that are percolating right now that we must discuss. And one of them is a very interesting, story from our friends over at WCPO. Local news here in Cincinnati. And apparently, and again, I'm not totally caught off guard by this because we've been talking about this for some while, but the report is that even nonprofits serving minorities have racial gap at leadership level. And listen, I like Lucy May, okay? I like Lucy May, but it seems like she's made a living off telling us shit that we already know. I like Lucy May, but we already know that, Lucy May. We've been talking about this for some time. Okay, you remember when the brother, Michael Johnson, who was brought from, I don't recall exactly where he was brought from, but he came in as the African American man. He came in as, he was brought in as the CEO of the United Way. The United Way is a very, 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 very influential institution in Cincinnati because they disperse money to other nonprofits. They play a very critical role. And this ain't nothing new. Before he came to be the CEO, there was a lot of question marks about the leadership of the United Way and are they representative of the community? And when he was summarily, well, he didn't get dismissed. He left because he said that basically there was like a white woman mafia that was running the United Way. There was a white female who was the board chair, and apparently she was running things over there. And then she stepped down. As I understand it, Ross Meyer is the current interim CEO. Something tells me he'll end up being the CEO. As I said, I think at the end of the day, I stand by what I said. I think at the end of the day, you will get some black people in leadership. Let me jump on over right now to the United Way of Cincinnati's website. And I just want to look at their leadership structure. I haven't heard about them hiring anybody else because that would be big news, right? If a person of color had been given a position or earned a position, should I say, as one of their leadership staff, then it definitely would have been reported. I definitely would have talked about it. I do know that Yvonne Gray, whom I know, was one of the VPs over there for a long time. Shout out to Yvonne Gray. She's done great work in our community on a lot of different levels. But previous to that, she was the only person of color that was a part of their leadership staff. Okay, she was the only person of color that was a part of leadership staff. And I thought to myself, okay, there's got to be some representation. Then Johnson came in, and I thought, okay, well, here we go. Let me go. I'm leadership right now. Let me look at their leadership staff right now, see if it's reflective of the community. What's funny here is this is pretty interesting. So and I've gone to United Way's website for multiple things. I've gone to their website, just straight up. I've done this many times before, live on the air. I go to their website, I look at the leadership staff, I tell you what I see. Now, for the longest time, and I mean this is for years, if you go to United Way's website and you look at their executive team, there was a picture of the individual, their name and their title. And now they've taken away the picture unless, for whatever reason, my laptop isn't refreshing fast enough. But for whatever reason, I don't see that anymore. Hold on. Who is Mike Baker? Because Ross Meyer is the interim CEO. See, so here's my question. Who over at the United Way decided that they wanted to take the photograph off of their website of all the people in their leadership? And I don't know. Let me see here. LaShia Lyman. That's a new name right there. Don Reynolds. I don't know because you can't really see anything. VP Success by Six and Area Communities. Now, listen, I told you what was going to happen when that brother left. I told you that because of the pressure from the community that somebody of color was going to end up on this leadership staff. I knew that. I don't know who this. Does anybody know LaShia Lyman? Let me see if I can do a Google search and get an image of this. LaShia Lyman. Let me see here. It could just be that listen, it could totally be that for whatever reason, my screen isn't refreshing fast enough. That could totally be what it is. I'm going to check around a little bit more before I make any conclusions here. But I don't think that LaShia Lyman is a person of color. As for what I'm saying, this is a white woman. So the question is, so you got Ross, Mike, Holly, Jennifer, LaShia, Brian, Don, and Charles. I don't know if any of them are people of color. None of them. So what the hell, United Way? Are you telling me there's no qualified people of color that work at the United Way that could be brought up into leadership? I know people that work at the United Way who are very sharp. Very, very sharp. I don't know. Don Reynolds, let me look this up. She may be a person of color. Let me see here. I think it's very interesting that the United Way, after the African-American CEO left and claimed that there was some kind of bias or some BS going on, And then people like me went to their website and was like, oh, I don't see any people of color. Now they take the pictures down of their leadership staff so you don't know. That's what it seems like to me. I could be wrong, but that's what it seems like to me. So let me see here. Don Reynolds. Don Reynolds. Let me see here. I'm Googling images. I mean, that's the one thing about the world we live in. The more you work and do things and take positions, there's going to be some images up online. So I'll do some more due diligence on that, but I think that's very, very interesting. And, black people in the city of Cincinnati who pay attention to these kind of things have known this for a long time. This ain't nothing new. Folks been talking about this for a while. This ain't nothing new. They've been talking about this for a while. Like, how do you have these now? I used to have these conversations with Jerry Tolliver 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Like, you got these nonprofits that in the city of Cincinnati, and primarily who their audience is, right? The people they serve are black, but at the top of the position, it's non-black people. There's no representation. And I'm not saying that you have to be a person of color to represent people of color. But you and I both know it makes a damn difference, don't it? It does. It does. I don't care what anybody says. It makes a difference. So if you just look around the nonprofit world in Cincinnati, you're going to see similar things. And the WCPO and Lucy May are finally catching up on it. I thought she must be freelance because I thought she was writing for the Cincinnati Enquirer. A new report, even nonprofits serving minorities have racial gap at leadership. Really? Quote, we've all got a tremendous amount of work to do. I'm so sick of hearing that we got work to do. Tired of hearing that. Oh, we got so much work that it's not really a whole lot of work. You just got to put people of color in critical positions. That's it. How is that hard? It's just all about, do you have the will to do it, quite honestly. Here it is. This is Lucy May. White people hold the vast majority of leadership positions at nonprofit organizations funded by the United Way of Greater Cincinnati. But nearly half the people those agencies serve are racial or ethnic minorities. Those are among the findings in a United Way report about how local nonprofits stack up in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion. The composition of the United Way's board of directors was included in the report too, which noted that 70% of board members there are white. How much of a difference does that make? How much of a difference does that make? You tell me. I'm telling you, somebody of color is going to get an opportunity. It was Michael Johnson. That was going back to October 2018. He was the first ever black CEO, and he alleged that he was the victim of subtle threats and hostile work environment. And he was the CEO. So if the CEO is feeling this, could you imagine other folks that work there? Now, most people aren't going to talk about this because their job is on the line, right? They don't want to make no waves. But I don't work for the United Way. So I don't give a damn what they think about me. So what? It makes no difference. You can put it right next to what Dan Hills feels about me and anybody else. So what? I'm like LeVar Ball. I don't work for ESPN. They can't ban me. Let's see here. I think what happened I'm reading a quote here. I think what happened in October had a ripple effect that caused organizations regionally to look at themselves with a certain filter, and that's a good thing. That's Sean Ruggles, who's a United Way board member and member of the Advocates for Inclusive Leadership group that spoke out last November. We talked to, her name is Ashley, African-American sister. Can't remember her last name, but she's a part of that group as well. So she called into the show last year and sort of gave us a little bit of an update about what they were doing. I respect those efforts. I really do. Let me say, Ruggles noted United Way's board of directors has recently elected new leaders. Steve Schiffman, the CEO of Michael Inc., is the new chairman. Barbara Turner, the president and chief operating officer of Ohio National Financial Services, is the new vice chair and chair-elect. Okay. Steve Schiffman is not black. Barbara Turner is. Okay, that's great. I think that's all great. I think that's great. But when I go to their website and I'm looking at their executive team, here's what I read. I read Ross Meyer, interim CEO. Something tells me he's going to get the job. Mike Baker, interim lead community impact. He took the job that Ross Meyer had. Holly End, who's the SVP and chief development officer. Jennifer Ingram, VP Diversity, inclusion, equity, and inclusion. She is a sister. So at least, okay, so great. You got at least one black person there. I told you it was going to happen because after Yvonne Gray left, there was nobody black on the executive leadership team for the United Way. She retired like 2 years ago, right? And I mean, she had worked for the port, Fifth Third Bank. I mean, she had a lot of these major organizations around the city. I know Yvonne Gray. And so when she left, it was like I came to the website, right? I did the same thing I'm doing now last year about this time. And I said, look at what's going to happen. I guarantee you that somebody's going to get an opportunity. And it looks like that actually happened. And, you know, how often is it that when black people are part of the leadership staff, that they're always like the diversity and inclusion, officer, right? I ain't hating on it. Change is change. I guess that's a good thing. But, that's quite interesting. It's very interesting. Perhaps this will lead to some real change at the United Way and other nonprofits. How much of a difference do you think it really makes that the leadership of the nonprofits, many of them throughout the city of Cincinnati, don't have black people that are making big decisions? Okay. Now, I know there's a lot of nonprofits doing great work. And I know of a lot of black folks that have executive, nonprofit executive leadership positions. That's great. I think that's critical. It's not a panacea. Just because you got a black person or a person of color there, an African American, doesn't mean that they're automatically going to bat for the community. But, it's at least some kind of change. I want to talk about that this morning. Did you get a chance to watch any of the presidential debates? If so, I want to get your thoughts. What did you think? Are you happy with what you heard? Do you feel as if did you see your front runner, right? Did you see somebody that really stood out to you? You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's the person. In your opinion, if you watched the debate, who stood out to you? Who's that person? You're like, yeah. Or is it way too early for that? And then you got 10 people up on the stage. It's like, think about it. How much can you really learn from somebody if they're fighting for attention with 9 other people on the stage? Okay. I will be watching tonight, and I will be, watching with a critical eye. From what's being written by the mainstream press, they're saying tonight you should expect maybe a little bit more aggression because you're going to have Biden and Bernie Sanders on stage together. So this is going to be a really, really important night. A lot of people are saying that Biden is the front runner. So we'll see. We'll get a chance to see what the front runner looks like. Were there any candidates last night that surprised you? They were not on your radar screen, but at the same time, you heard them, saw them, and thought, okay, I could get with that. Was anybody like that? 513-873-7134. Broadway Flow is first inside the Chop Shop with a rather long captain's log, but I'm going to do my best to get through it. Broadway Flow writes, Captain's Log, June 27th, 2019. The first presidential debate was on the agenda last night. I will start off with love. Castro and de Blasio had the strongest showings. I thought de Blasio did have a strong showing. I thought that Julian Castro did have a strong showing as well. I agree with you. Now, with them out of the way, President Trump was probably saying, ha, 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 sucker, you missed. To quote that good hip hop, unlike the well-known talk show host with superlative flows, Nathan Ivey, but I digress. Shout out to Fame, founder of the greatest crew. Those Democrats looking awfully shaky. No one came away with that feeling good about 2020. There was so much wrong with the debate, but I will point out one, the lack of black representation, that is. The Dems shows why there is no party. The Dems show why there is no party for black folks. 3 chances. Cory Booker interjects the First Step Act. Crickets. Trump championed that bill. Strike 1. Asked about specific black and Latino issues, and Amy Klobuchar did the yabba dabba shuffle. Blah, blah, everybody, strike 2. De Blasio tried to address the policing of blacks, but forgot NYC has one of the worst records when it comes to that. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. In this debate, you had the Super Bowl of pandering. There was a Spanish speaking battle. I saw that. Did you see Cory Booker's face when Beto started speaking Spanish? That was hilarious. He writes, there was a Spanish speaking debate. Illegal immigrants, LGBTQ, women, the greenies, Latinos, even the racist white male, AKA Midwest blue collars, are specifically addressed. Not blacks, though, with 90% of black voters going Democrat. You think they would address them? Maybe tonight, but I won't hold my breath. There are too many more important things to discuss. Anyway, good morning. Hashtag alt-middle Ayatollah stand up. This man. You got all that in this morning, man? Hilarious. How many agree? Ray writes, morning all. Hey, good to see you, Ray. Kelly writes, good morning, Nathan. Hey, good to see you, Kelly. Good morning, everybody. Brenda writes, happy Thursday, Nate and the Choppers. Wow, it's Thursday already? Really? Damn, I'm loving it. Good to see you. Mike Davis writes, rise and shine, young stars. Hey, good to see you, Mike. And there's a little star. Mason Mahler writes, morning, Nate and the Choppers. Hashtag, no. Then he puts hashtag yawn. He's just waking up. Charles writes, good morning, everyone. Hey, good to see you, Charles. Deborah writes, good morning, everyone. Good to see you, Deborah. Angela writes, salutations. Good to see you, Angela. Broadway Flo writes, reparations at Mike D. What's that? Right. The Mason Mahler, is Donald Trump and the Republicans for reparations? I'll wait. Right. That is a great point there. I mean, it's funny because people, and some black people, are more critical of the Democrat Party than they are the Republican Party. And I understand why. Because if you look at the numbers, overwhelmingly black folks, African Americans, people of color vote Democrat, right? But when it comes to, presidential elections, I mean, I think we should review what both parties have for us or you, depending on what your viewpoint is and what's important to you and what your agenda is, right? So if you're asking, if you care about reparations, it's not just the Democrats you should be asking that question of. It's all of the major parties. And it's not just one. Broadway Flo writes, it was the Democrats debate. Republicans wasn't there. True. Jared writes, good morning. Hashtag Team NI. Good to see you. Pat writes, good morning. Good to see you, Pat. Bunky writes, what's up, Nate and Choppers? Hey, Bunky, good to see you, man. Good to see you. What policies are the Republican Party and Donald Trump pushing for reparations for the 22 election? I don't know. I don't want to get into a reparations debate today. We can pick it up. That's what we're going to talk about. But I've got other things. It's always on the topic list. I get it. The United Way is full of shit, somebody writes. They do great work. There's great people. I know people right now that work over there in very serious responsibility type positions. Good people. But as somebody said, there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do. And the work is, finding more representation and diversity in critical positions. Critical positions, not janitor, not aide, not, and again, all these positions are important inside of any kind of institution. I'm not downing any position, okay? I'm just saying that leadership positions is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Kiki writes, great risings, Mr. Ivy's in the Choppers. Hey, good to see you, Kiki. Angela writes, white women are considered minorities. Considered by who? Considered by who, Angela? Black folks don't look at it that way. I mean, I understand the government and all of that, but let's see. Mike Davis writes, Marler, sometimes I think you're dim before you're black. Kiki writes, it's more like the want to do. No matter how many degrees we may acquire, they still believe we do not have the skills or knowledge to complete the job. Well, it takes people in the positions. It takes the people who are already there that make the decision to decide that we want diversity. It takes strong individuals. Let me give you an example. So I speak very proudly about this, that I worked in youth development for about 5.5 years. The only reason why I got that position is because there was a black man who was the principal at that particular school. And after working many, many years, after being the principal, what he realized is that they didn't have enough black men in the building. And he wanted that. And so when the decision came to, when the position became open, he put his foot down. He said, this is what I'm looking for. Now, there's a way that you do that. You just can't come out and say, And in some cases you can. It depends on what the circumstances are because it can work against you. But there's a way that you do that. And I remember interviewing for the job. I remember, man, it was like five people in the interview, right? All these different stakeholders that had some kind of influence over that particular position, right? And then I remember him telling me the stories afterward, shortly afterward, about how the nonprofit that I was actually hired to work for, how they wanted a white woman. That's what they were looking for. And it takes people of courage to put their foot down and say, no. And what was so funny about it is I didn't report directly to him, although there was a responsibility there. I reported directly to the nonprofit, and it wasn't just a nonprofit's decision about who was going to take that position. It was a very critical position. He put his foot down, and that's what it's going to take. It's going to take the stakeholders who are already there, who say that they want diversity. They say, and by diversity I mean they want more black people, more brown people working there in critical positions. Okay, to put their foot down and say this is what we're going to do, no matter what, no matter what. And of course, then when you get a position and somebody goes to bat for you like that, you got to show out, man. You got to do your thing to really represent for them. So that's what it takes. That's what it takes. No doubt about it. That's what it's going to take. Let me see here. Sister V writes, "Good morning, people." She writes, "Good morning, people, black people." Miss D writes, "Greetings." Mason Muller writes, "Maybe you should stop thinking and read up about me. Been fighting for the cause for years. This ain't new, Mike D. I got tapes." Uh-oh. Got tapes. Pat writes, "Castro was strong." Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So you thought the Castro was strong, huh? I thought so as well. I thought from the moment he opened his mouth, he made sense. I thought he made sense. Absolutely. Watching the candidates trying to speak Spanish was funny as hell. Castro and Warren did well. Hmm. Why is that so important? Speaking Spanish, but I guess it is. I mean, it was some interesting things I learned last night, and it wasn't just a debate. I learned some interesting things watching the commentary before the debates. I was watching. Hold on one second, Choppers. So I was watching MSNBC, and they had like a three-person panel: uh, white male, white female, black male, who were all on the panel. They were talking about things, and they were talking about the rise of the Hispanic population. And I just took some notes. I thought it was really interesting things that people should be aware of because America is changing. America's changing right in front of us. This is a very critical time. Very critical. Pardon me. Mike Davis writes, "Mahler, you play partisan politics. You're no Chuck D. You more Fresh Prince. Quit bringing up Trump. He wasn't there last night." Fame writes, "No, Bunky. Broadway is proficient and adept at his own something ability. I'm sure he glad you enjoy the captain's log. I know I do. I enjoy the captain's log. It's a lot of fun." Let me see. Broadway writes, "Bunky with the hate early. My pen game is mine. Fame got skills too. We represent critical thinking and skills in the middle. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I give you that, but Bunky writes, "Snacks in his Broadway flows Ghostwriter." You know what? I have been thinking the same thing, Bunky. I mean, Bunky and this saying, I've been thinking the same thing. Very interesting. It's the syntax, the way the words are arranged. Everybody has a syntax. And if you know what you're looking for, you can pick up on it real quick. That's how I can sometimes, on Twitter and otherwise, and early on, we've had not a whole lot of fake accounts lately. But you can pick up on the fake accounts because, you know, people can try, but the way that they arrange words on a sentence, the way they think and write and speak, it's hard to change that. It's hard to change that. So you can put up a fake account and you start writing and typing, you type with a very similar pattern. And some people can pick up on that, including yours truly. Let me see. The government is the one who acknowledges. So what blacks think doesn't matter unless they're changing that government classification. Well, I don't know about that, Angela. I disagree with you. I disagree with you. And just hear me out on this. I did. So are we talking about the classification of what a minority is? Yeah. People of color resist that. You know, it's just the same thing happened in the city of Cincinnati. We was talking about minority contracts. And then it came up that like white women are classified as minorities. That didn't satisfy black folks. African Americans in the city was like, wait a minute, that ain't the same as us. So that's what I mean. I mean, I know what the government classification is, but I also understand what people think. And people don't look at it like that. I don't look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? When I'm saying minorities, I understand according to the definition that includes white women, but that's not what I'm talking about. So I get it. I get it. And I just agree with you. What black people think about it does matter. It does matter. I hear it all the time. I hear it all the time. We were having that conversation in Cincinnati a couple years back about, you know, the percentage of city contracts going to minorities. There was a clear pushback from the community that what they were looking for was not white women. They were talking about people of color, and people were drawing that distinction. And then it forced the city to further draw that distinction as well. I remember being over the NAACP a couple years back, more than that actually. I guess that would be 3 or 4 years back that would be 2 years back during the last election with Yvette Simpson. And it came up then as well. And people were like, we're talking about black folks. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by that. Bunky writes, on the Democratic Dixiecrat side of the game, who spoke specifically about policies for black Americans? Not that a rising tide lifts all boat rhetoric. I'll wait. Our boats were made with holes in them. Hashtag tangibles 2020. Okay. Tanika's in the house. She writes, good morning. Hey, good morning to you, Tanika. Good to see you. Karamia writes, good morning to Nathan and the Choppers. Good to see you. Angela writes, sounds like the Brown folks were winning. Yeah. Oh, it was very interesting. It was MSNBC, maybe about 15, 20 minutes before they started last night. I'm watching. They had a 3-person panel, and it was the brother, actually. I don't recall his name, but he was talking about just the state of the Hispanic population, how they're rising, how they're organizing, and how they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the near future. I thought it was very interesting. And then you got to understand this, is that, what was it, yesterday, what was the early morning news? We was talking about the images of this man and his daughter who had drowned trying to get over the Rio Grande. And all day long yesterday, I was seeing memes like, well, I saw this on Instagram. Somebody put up a meme like, if they don't care about Trayvon Martin, what makes you think they care about these folks? And it was a photograph of these 2 dead bodies. I thought it was terrible, man. Like, some people may not be able to have empathy unless it's somebody of your own race. I ain't built like that. You know, I have empathy for human beings across the board. Now, you already know what the focus is, but I have a child. I have 2 children with my wife. I got a 4-year-old. I'm looking at this little bitty body thinking, that's crazy. That's crazy, yo. So I get it. You know, I'm never going to be consumed in what I think, that I can't look outside of that and have empathy for some other individuals. Somebody called me and asked me, I think it was Black Lion, asked me, can you have empathy for white folks? Yes, I can. Absolutely. No doubt. I have empathy for humans. But you already know what my focus is from day one. I'm consistent. Let's see here. Taylor writes, good morning. Good to see you. Good morning. I think I said Daryl writes, good morning. Those first 10 candidates didn't impress me at all. So far, Trump will get his second term, and that is sad. Really? You think Trump, nobody? Let me see. What about Cory Booker? Let's throw it out there. How many people were impressed with Cory Booker? What did you think about the job that Cory Booker did? Do you think that you saw something last night? And again, what can you see in a debate, right? I mean, what are you really going to get in a debate with 10 people up there all fighting and trying to get a word in and making points and tell you who they are, right? It's hard to remember all this kind of stuff. I'm going to run down the so-called fact checkers, because the fact checkers have been doing what they do. And some people told some colossal humdingers. And I want you to know who those people are. Sorry about that. I want you to know who those people are and what's being said. Let's see. Arai writes, and why was Claire McCaskill on the panel again? Claire McCaskill. Let me think here. Pat writes, she said, I didn't say he was strong. She said, he surprised me. Okay, that is a difference. Surprised you in a good way or a bad way? Bunky writes, true that, AK. White women get first dibs on minority loans, grants, and affirmative action benefits, which in turn keeps all the money flowing from their community. Hashtag toxic governmental nepotism. I agree. Let me see. Angela writes, the brown folks are going to follow the white women's playbook. What do you mean? I'm not saying you're wrong, but I want you to flesh it out for me. What do you mean by that? I've said it before. What are Hispanics doing? What are these other racial groups doing that is leading to their success that black folks can absorb and adopt? What is it? I have at least one idea I'm going to share with you really soon. Bunky writes, brown folks are winning, and they are here to replace us. So what are we going to do about it? Broadway Flow writes, so I'm in a fake account now? I did not know fake accounts could call in. I didn't say you were a fake account, man. I just said that there are. Hold on. Hold on. Is Junior on here? Yeah, you see Junior? That's my baby. I love you. Thank you. If you're on YouTube, you can see Junior right now giving me a hug. See yourself right there? Good. All right, I love you. Have a great day, bud. I don't know. No, there's nothing in here is yours, man. That's Junior. That's my Junior moment every morning. If you love your babies, you already know. That's number one. None of this other stuff means a damn thing compared to him. It is what it is. Angela writes, doesn't matter what people think because they are not controlling the purse strings. Okay. Mason Marler writes, just give up then. Jeez. Dale writes, my son is making sounds like he's trying to talk. I think he is liking the show. It is so cool. Y'all could see and hear this. You know, we got us a new baby chopper. We got 2 baby choppers. I love it, man. Young king in the making. I know he's going to grow up to be a fine, intelligent black man. I already know it. I already know. Look at his dad. I already know it. Nothing like the baby choppers. Because really, all of this is really about the babies. It's really all about the babies. It's really all about the children, the next generation, making sure, I'm in Cincinnati, so making sure that Cincinnati is a place that'll be fair and equitable, where you can live the African-American dream, if that's what you're looking for. That's what it's really all about. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm getting long in the tooth. You know what I'm saying? Our time is on, we on the way out. You know, so whatever we're doing right now is all about setting the next level for little Buddha, for the baby choppers, for my son, for Daryl's son, for Ashley's daughter. That's what it's really all about, for your grandbabies, for your children. That's what it's really all about. You know what I'm saying? The efforts we make today is for the next generation. It's really about them. It's all about them. Let me see. Angela writes, black folks need to say black and quit the people of color designation. The brown folks are going to steal spots away from blacks under that one. You think so? Well, I think it's the context. I think it's important in some areas and less important in other areas. It depends. But generally speaking, so what's the difference between black and African American as we get caught up in these names? I mean, I like to know. And if we say black, so if we stop saying people of color, that's not going to stop the efforts of Hispanics, and it's not going to necessarily stop white racism. Or maybe it will. You tell me. Fame writes, FOH, my brethren is a beast and can handle himself. The best thing about a wolf is the pack. The best part of the pack is the wolf. Stop insulting my brother. There's no hierarchy or caste system in the alt middle. Of course they are. Of course there is. Let me see. Angela writes, everyone other than white is POC technically. TNT writes, good morning. Hey, good to see you, TNT. Mila writes, I've been cool on Booker ever since he was asked on the campaign trail about the increase in whites calling police on blacks for petty stuff. And his answer was black. Mila writes, folks need to give white people grace. What? Bunky writes, Glenn, no one is giving up. You give up when you consistently vote for your oppressor. Tangibles 2020. TNT writes, did they address reparations for ADOS? Did they pose a question on police-involved shooting against unarmed and innocent citizens? I didn't get a chance to see it all last night. I've got clips for you. We'll get to them in just a second. Mason Muller writes, Angela, she's talking to Bunky. Mason Muller writes, vote for our oppressor. Only slaves have a master or oppressor. Sister V writes at TNT, reparations was not discussed. Hosts didn't ask. They were too busy trying to speak Spanish. Hashtag reparations now. Mason Marlon writes, I know what I'm talking about, Bunky, but I appreciate it. I put it out there for all to see. I'll debate it with any and all. Mike Davis writes, Nate, if you're for the children, does that make you alt middle? Yeah, that's funny. But I've always been for the children. And to the day I die, I'll be an advocate for our children, for youth. To the day I die, no matter what I do. To the day I die. Like I said, I never looked at myself as somebody who'd ever work with kids. I never thought I had the patience. And I learned a lot of patience doing that. And just doing that job for just a short amount of time opened my eyes to just how critical the need is. That, young people have role models, that people that give a damn. I gave a damn. And the job burnt me out. 10, 12-hour days, 5 days a week. But I just feel like, our children deserve that. They deserve somebody that's going to stand up for them and represent. And that's why I have nothing but respect for our teachers. Now, I criticize the system when it's necessary, but that is one hell of a job. I don't want it. It's for somebody better than me. Because if you're doing it right, it's going to exhaust you. It will exhaust you. That's just how deep that job is. It's just like with your kids. Like if you're going super hard for your kids and your grandbabies, it exhausts you. It exhausts you because you're dealing with your issues and you're dealing with their issues. It can be very, 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 very problematic. It really can. It really can. So no, Mike, I've been for the children way before the alt middle came along, and will be long after the alt middle. Well, I won't say that. I won't say they'll die or anything like that. But let's just say I believe in youth development. Very much so. I think it's critical. It is critical. And I believe in before and after school programs as well. That was another question that wasn't brought up. There's a lot of questions that I thought should have been brought up last night that were not. There's a lot of questions that don't get caught up, that don't get brought up when it comes to the local elections as well. But it is what it is. Mason Muller writes, Charlie Winburn loved talking about white women. That was his tagline. He ain't gonna never let that down. None of the candidates running for POTUS platform persuaded me to vote for them. Where is Stacey Abrams? That's Karamia. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't swayed either, to be honest with you. I mean, I thought there was some great points and some great moments, but I wasn't swayed. I wasn't swayed necessarily. I came into it and came out of it. This is me personally. The feelings that I had about those individuals up there is the same feeling I have coming out of it. Not a lot has changed. Nothing really has changed at all for me. Nothing at all. Bunky writes, we need to get on code across the board, just like the Mexicans do. We spend too much time trying to make class systems amongst black people: Hebrew, Israelite, Baptist, Jehovah Witness, Christian, Boule, Mason, light skin, dark skin, Hotep. We are black Americans. And in the dominant society eyes, we're all one big nigga. So we need to act accordingly. We have a whole bunch of niggas, clans, and we can't come together on ish because everyone wants to be the HNIC. A bunch of ass Nino Browns. Broke Nino Downs to that. Right. Bunky, I agree with you, man. It's too much of this, like, it's just too much of people getting caught up on small stuff and not the big stuff. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like it's too much of that within our community. You got people out there pointing fingers. You ain't Hotep enough. You ain't black enough. You're too dark. You're too light. You're from the South. You're from the North. You voted for Bush. You voted for Trump. I mean, it's like, at the end of the day, to me, a lot of that seems to be very, very small. Okay? It seems to be very, very small, but it is what it is. That's how human beings are. I think there's a way through. I think there's a way through. Sister V writes, speaking of alt middle, anybody heard from the leader? Is he okay? I haven't heard. I haven't heard. Again, I sent him a text message on Twitter because we used to converse on Twitter. Haven't heard anything back. I don't know. I wish the brother the absolute best. I really do. But I haven't heard anything. Fame writes, Victoria, the leaders are in the chop shop. Please try to pay attention. Toots. So now she's Toots. You're so wrong for that, Fame Rothstein. You're so wrong for that. Toots. That's Sister V you're talking to, man. Did you get a chance to watch the debates last night? If you did, I want to get your thoughts about it. Let me know what you think about what you saw last night. And if you're on YouTube, you can check out the numbers scrolling at the bottom there, 513-873-7134. You can call me right now. Call me right now, and we can check it out. That's on the national level. On the national level today, the news cycle will be dominated with people talking about the presidential election. People are going to do fact checking. They're going to play clips. They're going to analyze it every which way you can believe. Okay, that's going to go down today, no matter what. No matter what, that's going to happen today. And I want to get your thoughts about it. Did you watch any of the debates? Does it really matter? Does it really matter? Let me go back here. I feel like I may have missed some of your comments this morning. Let me see here. So Angela says that, she said, I want to go back to this. She writes at 744, black folks need to say black. I agree with you. I agree with you. Does that leave out the word the term African American, though? You know, I use them interchangeably because I understand that people use them interchangeably. You know, I know people that are every bit as black, but they say the word African American. Sometimes they say the word black. Does that mean they're any less black? I don't think so. I don't think so. When I say people of color, I mean that because if we sit back and elect, as we would put it, non-black, if we sit back as black people and we allow non-black people, but people of color, if you follow me, to be oppressed in this country, then it's two steps to our oppression. So I'm a big believer that, so let me give you where I stand about it. I'm a big believer that if I put out a fire 2 doors down, right? So let's say that a fire breaks out in a neighborhood, a residential neighborhood. Okay, you got a row of houses. The fire breaks out on the east side. It's sweeping toward the west side. My house is on the west side. Should I wait until the fire gets to my house before I try to put some measures out there to put it out? No. I'm going to try to put the fire out before it gets anywhere close to my house. And that's how I say it when I say people of color. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. Now, if you think that means that I'm less black, well, that's your opinion. But I can articulate how I feel about it. So I think black means something that's very powerful, very powerful. And I think that there's people that use it interchangeably. You know, that's how I look at it. Like, I get what people mean. I get what they mean. I think what's more important than that is the work itself. So if I see a fire raging down the block, I'm not going to wait until it gets right next to my grass before I run out there and do something. No, I'm going to get down there and try to put the fire out of somebody else's house for 2 reasons. Number one, to help them. And the 2, it's going to help me. It's going to help me as well. And again, if we sit back and let other people be oppressed and we don't say nothing, that doesn't mean you got to put all your resources into that bucket. But if we sit back and let that happen, it's a slippery slope until it happens to us. If there's a snake in your neighbor's backyard, kill it there before it gets to your backyard. That's how I look at it. But how do you look at it? 513-873-7134. I'm so sorry. I got a caller on the line. Let me see who this is. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the show.
Morning, Nathan. It's Kevin on the cell. How you doing, bro?
Hey, Kevin, my bad about that, man. I appreciate you holding. What's going on?
Just trying to make it every day. I'm blessed. So here's the deal. I heard a lot. The reason what prompted me calling in is I'm hearing this mentality of lack, right? They're going to take our resources. Man, there is a plethora of resources out here. There's plenty of resources for everybody. So we don't have to worry about the brown people taking our opportunities and all of this. That's a bunch of crap. The real truth is, there's more than enough out here for pretty much everyone here to eat. Everybody could eat. We're so focused on making sure somebody else don't eat that we don't get to eat. But we need to focus on us. All I keep hearing about throughout everything, number one, the Cheeto in charge, he should be priority one. And there's 20 people on the stage. You didn't hear half the things that you wanted to hear in the debate last night because there's too many people to talk to. Everybody out here's got to get a question, and every question they're getting is for one specific segment of the population. That can't win. We need a comprehensive platform that everybody can get behind. And that goes for us black people. It goes for the white people. It goes for the gays, lesbians, straight. All of us need a comprehensive platform. We need to get off this whole thing about we and them and all of that other garbage, because that's garbage. Right now, you know, what I keep saying is if this man is elected, Trump is going to serve one more year, and then kaboom, there goes the room. You hear me? Shout out to the Wu Tang. We cannot put ourselves in a position where we're dealing with a bunch of infighting and all this other crap, and we're worried about only one specific issue. I've heard that several times. Yes, we should be definitely looking to make sure that people who were uh, um, the victims of slavery are made whole. 100%. There is no doubt about it. And the person that you elect should be a person who is a person that would speak to that issue. Whether they do speak to it right now or not, it should be a person that would speak to it. And then when you get them in office, hold them accountable for what you want them to do, not before they get in office, because really, what does it matter? You can't do anything until you actually have the position. Once they get in office, present a, for lack of a well, I like the term, a united front, and go in and say, hey, this is what we as a community of black people, because we are Africans throughout the diaspora. There are plenty of black folks in places that people don't even know the names of yet, because we're the original people, and that is true. There is one thing that's certain: the people that came out of Africa were the first people to walk the earth, uh, circa Lucy and all the other stuff that people have found out. So we got to come back to this. We got to get our mind wrapped around who is the candidate that's going to go out there that once he or she takes office, they are absolutely going to do what we need them to do for everyone. I always hear people talk about uh, President Obama and say, "Oh, what did he do for the black people?" He tackled the number one issue that we face as a people, which is health care. Because if you sick and you can't get well, you can't work, you can't eat, you ain't buying no houses, you ain't doing nothing. If you're sick and you can't get well, you're gonna die. So that's what he did for everybody, and that included us. And since we are disproportionately affected by that, that means that he did that for us first. So we need to get somebody else in there that will do the same, that will look at everybody and say, well, what's the number one issue that affects everybody and disparately affects blacks, and then make sure that that's the person that we put in the office. Nate, I don't even know. Like I said, there is no lack. There's plenty out here. Everybody can eat. The median income is for a family of four is $54,000, and there's plenty of people that are out here right now that are making much more than $54,000. And the main reason why they're doing that is they're not really worried about what somebody else is making. They're grinding and making sure they get what they need to get for themselves. And so we need to make sure as a community that we grind and get what we need for ourselves.
I'm
That
with
was
you on that.
boy. See, you shouldn't have held me on host.
I,
You
I,
shouldn't
I,
have me on host so long.
nah, man. I'm listen. It worked, man. I mean, great flows. I appreciate it. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see if we get a response from it, man. What people think.
Absolutely. Hey, Nathan, on every station across the nation, be blessed. I hope you have a great rest of your week, man. And you know, I believe we can do all things together, man. If
I do
we
too.
stay committed, we can get there.
Yeah, collectively, I believe that as well, man. I really do. Hey, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. Yeah,
Thank you, Nathan. Be blessed, bro.
yeah. You too, man. Be blessed. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. And for people who feel that way in the Nathan Ivy Show audience, I've got an idea I want to share with you. If you live in the Cincinnati area, I've come up with a way that we can work together. As I said, and I've said this many times before, going back to last year. Okay, let's move from talk to action. What can we do together collectively that can move the needle in the city of Cincinnati? And after giving it some time and thinking with some folks and talking with some folks and stakeholders, I've come up with a way in which we can do that all together collectively. And I'll unveil it to you really, really shortly. Let me see here. We got John on the line, my man John from Princeton. Let's see if we can pot him up. Good morning, John. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivy, and the good people of Cincinnati, as well as good people around the world. And yes, Hey, Choppers. Good morning, Choppers.
Hey, good morning, John. Now, let me ask you: are we on Spreaker or Bluetooth or something
Well,
like that?
making sure off of these headphones. Sorry about
Yeah,
that. How's that? How's that, sir?
1,000 times better, man. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Did you
Yes,
watch the
yes.
debates last night?
Yes, and before I get to the debates, nice flows that you and the gentleman that you just had on. He hit all the marks and dot the lines and cross the T's with a couple of issues. I can't really complain about anything that he just talked about. Okay, let's get to this fabulous debate. Okay, yes, John from Princeton did listen to the debates last night, and I was curious to see of the same recycled questions and answers that I've been hearing over 40, 50 years. Nothing new. I suspected that, but I was disappointed about one thing not being addressed on the table, and that's reparation. Yes, choppers, I'm pushing reparations from here to next year and hold these accountable, as that last caller stated, hold these accountable, hold these candidates accountable for not dealing with reparation. And I'm surprised they didn't even put that on the platform. At least make that the last question or the first question if you want to get it out of the way. But not one thing. But okay, I'll deal with this first debate. I don't expect them to bring it up again tonight because they gave you a tip as to how this debate is going to be tonight and any other debates down the road. So, the only thing I'm disappointed is, come on, black people are screaming about reparation and we want it. As I stated, Barack Obama didn't want to talk about it. He talked about it a little bit, but he shifted it off, took the ball and shifted it off into another direction. He got away from it. Another debate, another time, but not one question on reparation. All right, I can deal with it because it's going to be plenty more debates between now and next year. So, in half of those characters you're seeing last night as well as tonight, they're not going to be there between now and when it gets to that convention. It'll be whittled down. And you know who I want, Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren, now watch her very closely last night. Was very calculated. She didn't have to yell and scream like some of them candidates was doing. She got her bullet points across very strong, and she started strong and she ended strong. So once again, it's plenty more debate down the road. I see her standing with a number of those short candidates tonight, as well as last night. That those role people will be whittled down. Come on, they know they don't. Half of them don't have a snowball chance of winning the presidency. They want a cabinet position. They want the country to hear who they are. Where did they come from? Okay, I got it. I got that. No problem. So it's a long way to go, but it comes down to one thing, Mr. Nathan Ivey, and I pointed that out to you many times. If the Democrats win the presidency, if they win, like Barack Obama, if they don't win the Congress and the Senate, nothing is going to get done. It's going to be Barack Obama all over again. That's why I don't want to see Biden in there. I don't want to see Bernie in there. At least the same old characters that have been there for 40 and 50 years, get them the hell out of there because they're going to bring the same foolish policies. And you'll be complaining 4 years from now, we couldn't get nothing done. But it's going to come down to the Congress and the Senate. Barack Obama clearly understood that. As I stated, we don't know how great he possibly would have been. Well, some of them are only content with, oh, he's a good-looking black man. Oh, he's had a nice little walk. Go to hell. Nah, he's like a shoe salesman to me. That's what I got in 2016. I did my research on Barack Obama, and some of you people should have done your research. I'm hearing the classic chopper screaming that Barack, oh, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. Oh, you should have done your research before you pulled that lever. Another day at another time. It's a long way to go between now and next year. Plenty of debates. We don't get our clusters up too much. But as I stated, if whoever the presidency on the Democrats are, if they win, if they don't win the Congress and the Senate, then we're going to have the same old bull crap for 4 years. Nothing is going to get done in the Congress and the Senate. As we see now, Trump can't get nothing done because the Congress controls stuff. He breaks laws. He jumps over the Congress. But, it's all a game, and the game is on me and you. I'd like to hear your comments, sir.
Well, I mean, no comments. I mean, that's your thought. The only thing I would say is, now you understand what I've been saying to you, man. I mean, yeah, somebody gets in the White House, they become the president. But if 2 years later people don't come out and support him, that person or her, that candidate is going to be surrounded by opposition in the House of Representatives and also perhaps in the Senate. You're right. I remember telling you that. That's what happened to Barack Obama. So, like you said earlier, we'll never know the potential that Barack Obama's presidency could have had if people who came out in the mainstream election, if they had came out in the midterm elections. It makes a difference. You're right. It makes a difference who not only who's in the White House, but what the composition of Congress is. Because if you got Barack Obama in the White House, but then the Republicans have an overwhelming majority in the House of Representatives and also Senate, aka the Congress, there's only so much that person's going to be able to do. There's only so much that person's going to be able to do. And so people came out afterward and said, "Oh, Barack Obama didn't do anything." Well, my question's always been, did you vote in that midterm election? And if the answer is no, then you are part of the problem. So that's the only thing I would add to it.
Well,
And when I say you, I'm not saying you, John. I'm just saying just general you.
Well, during the midterms, and I do agree with your assessment, during the midterms, you're right. If you don't come out and vote, then we saw what happened in 2016. The midterms kind of changed the scale of power a little bit with the Democrats taking control of the Congress. But I think they put too much emphasis on the Congress and didn't focus their energies on the Senate. And the Republicans was able to keep control of the Senate. That's why, the Republicans are dirty. They play dirty politics. They knew that it's a possibility they're going to lose the Congress. So let's put our control on knocking off some of those Democrats in the Senate. So if it's an impeachment, they're not going to even get it past us. So the Democrats see that. And Nancy Pelosi, she sees all of this stuff, and she realizes there's no sense impeaching. Let's focus our energy on 2020 and put a little heat on the character in the White House. But, it's a long way to go. Let's see what happens. But you know how I feel. If Bernie or Biden is in there, forget it. The Trumpster, the slick snake Trumpster, will walk possibly right back into that White House. And, I called up Al Sharpton one time. I think this was on the winter time. And I was just curious. I said, let me call him up during this mid-tank show. And I gave him a tip. I said, you know why that Trump snuck into the White House? Trump snuck into the White House because of the typical hacking that goes on that nobody talks about too much. Yes, hacking happens across the country, and all of those votes that we know, a lot of votes are being deleted, thrown away, not counting. Both parties do it. They don't tell you about it, but it happens. So I'm giving Sharpton a little tip. You want to get ready for 2020, you better have your posters out there. You better make sure every vote across the country is counted, and you better watch the hacking system. Electronic hacking is a big thing. If we see what happens in some of these countries where they're they sneak and hack into these countries' electronic system and shut off the grid or do this. So hacking has been going on in this country for a long time, and it will continue happening. So let's see. And it happened in 2016, and it possibly will happen in 2020 because nobody has done anything about the system.
John, thanks for the call, man.
And
make sure you vote the upcoming elections.
One final thing before I let you go. Why did they start the debates in Florida? Do you know why they did that first broadcast there in Florida? With all the problems Florida had over the last 15, maybe. Why did they do it in Florida? Can you explain that to me? And those Floridanians, those Latinos, well, you know how they swing. You can't put too much emphasis on them.
Right.
The way some of them have voted for the Republican Party, and some of the mess that's happened to the Latino community. Maybe you can tell me, why did they start that broadcast there in Florida? I'm just curious.
I can't tell you off the top of the dome, man. Let me see what I can find during our break. That is a fair question, though. That's interesting. I don't know why. It matters, but I do not know why. But John, thanks for the call, man.
Have a good day.
Yeah. Most def. That's John from Princeton, New Jersey, a.k.a. Zorro. I want to say good morning to my folks over on YouTube. Empress, Casey, Brenda, appreciate you. Yeah, she says, Casey writes, no, Empress writes, great risings, Mr. Ivy and the Choppers, looking and sounding magnificent. Casey writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Hope all is going well. Please stay hydrated today. And Brenda says she's watching. Great. Great. We only got a few people watching on YouTube. I haven't put the word out yet. We'll put the word out real soon. Let people know that they can listen to the Nathan Ivy Show, but you can also watch the show as well on YouTube. And see here. What's up to my people over at Know I'm Talking About? Know I'm Talking About Radio. And I did an interview with them, maybe it's about a month ago, but they finally put the full interview up. Where's CG Dub? She may not like it. It's a video. They do a video podcast. And I had my son's Cincinnati Reds baseball cap on. She ain't going to be happy. She told me, don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again. Well, before you told me that, I had already did this interview with them. And shout out to them, man. They do great work over there. They do a podcast, a radio show over on Radio Artifacts, and then it's simulcast over on WVXU as well. So I appreciate that. And brothers doing their own media. I respect it, 100%. Here's one thing I want to say to people, because the other thing is we can't get so caught up in the push for reparations that we forget that there's other issues. Now, I've always been consistent on that one. I don't know any black people in my world that are not for reparations. I don't know any. No, I don't know anybody in my particular sphere, who feels that way. Nobody. However, there's a multitude of issues that we got to focus on that relate to black neighborhoods and black people and black children, and making sure that black people get a chance to get their fair share of the pie. So I think that the reparations conversation, I love the energy. I support the energy. I would join the movement. Okay. To me, it's a really big issue, but there's a lot of issues out there that need to be addressed in real time as it relates to our neighborhoods, not just reparations. Now, I know that's like not the trendy thing to say, but fuck the trendy thing to say. It's real, and it's real. There's a lot of issues out there that we have to address that are not necessarily directly related to reparations. So I think that there's a multitude of issues, including reparations, that we need to be pushing for. Now, I'll tell you an issue right now that's really on nobody's radar screen, and that's before and after school programs. Who do you think primarily is going to be in those programs? Us. That's very important. That's something that's critical. That's a kitchen table issue, okay, for people that have children every single day. Man, I could tell you the stories. I've had parents, people of color, African Americans, black people come to me and say, hey, without this program, I wouldn't even be able to keep this job. I wouldn't be able to keep this job. And if you can't keep a job, then guess what? You ain't taking care of your family. You're not maintaining your existence, your lifestyle. So there's a lot of issues that need to be discussed. They didn't talk about after school programs yesterday. They didn't talk about before school programs. That is super critical. Now, I'm not trying to place them and say, okay, this is more important than the other. That's for you to decide in your own heart and your own mind. But what I'm telling you is there's a lot of issues that were not discussed last night that don't get discussed. They don't get discussed, whatsoever. And they are really important to working class people, and they're really important to black people as well. Very important. So how do you rank this? I don't know. You tell me. 513-873-7134. CG Dub writes, hey, Nate, good morning, Choppers. Today starts my vacation. I'm off till July 15th. Wow, have fun. Oh, July 15th? You got one of them good jobs. You got a good job. Damn. You got 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks off. That's what a vacay should be. Because what happens is the first week on a vacay, you just like decompressing, right? You don't have to tell me, but are you traveling? That's always fun. And congrats on the good job. And number 2, have fun. Have fun. Decompress. This world's so crazy. Mike Davis writes, Nate, other folks are going to push other issues. Reparation is our issue, and we should continually push it like salt and pepper. I agree. But what I'm telling you is that black people have issues, kitchen table issues, that are even more important than reparations on a daily basis. Now, I know that makes me anti-black all of a sudden, right? But I'm telling you the truth. I'm not saying that listen, we can walk and chew gun at the same time. We don't have to be one issue people. There's a multitude of issues that matter every single day. Okay? And it's not just that. So I'm not suggesting that we drop it in favor of other things. I'm just reminding people that there's a lot of issues out there that matter on a daily basis. On a daily basis. That we need to be pushing as well. And, for the folks like myself that say that don't mean you're any less or you don't care or don't understand. I understand fully. Care as much as anybody else do. Probably more so than some people do. Okay? Because I put it on the line. So I'm just saying, there's a multitude of issues. Reparations is the original sin. This should have been dealt with. This is ugly for America. This country will never, ever live up to its promises to us and anybody else until they take care of that. We should never stop pushing it. But there's other issues that need to be pushed on a daily basis as well, that need to be pushed, that might have even more of an impact and or might even be more likely for us to find success than reparations. So I don't know. I mean, something tells me, let's say we all elect a Democrat candidate who pushes reparations, right? Does that mean that within those 4 years that it's going to happen? I don't know. I don't think that should necessarily stop people from pushing it, but it should be considered when we're pushing a whole table of ideas. There's a whole lot of ideas that matter every single day. I'm talking about kitchen table ideas, kitchen table issues, the kind of stuff that mom and dad deal with on a daily basis. That's what I'm talking about. All right, here, let me go back to the phones. I reached out yesterday to a brother that we were talking about during the show. And let me see if he could come on the show. He actually responded to me. So I wanted to just swoop back around and make sure. I'll get to this during the break, actually. That's Mr. Stewart. Remember that I'm just destroying his first name. Sianta Stewart. Sianta Stewart. And there was a really interesting article in which he has some quotes in there. As I understand it, he's a black business owner, black entrepreneur, and he's up in Bond Hills, and he's concerned about what he's seeing and the changes in the neighborhood. I just want to talk to him directly. He said he'd be willing to come on the show. Let me see if I can make that happen before we leave today. Also, get your questions ready because tomorrow we're going to speak with Charmaine McGuffey, and she is running for the Hamilton County Sheriff. She wants to be the Hamilton County Sheriff, and she wants to replace Jim Neal, and she'll be my guest via phone tomorrow. I might even hook up like a peer-to-peer video feed so you can go over to YouTube and actually watch the show that way. Okay, we'll see. But most certainly she'll be on the line with us tomorrow. So get your thoughts together, get your questions together, any questions you may have. I talked with a brother 2 weeks ago, and then we connected yesterday, who was recently in the Hamilton County Justice Center. And what he told me was amazing. And I asked him directly, because he listened to the show, and I asked him what he thought about questions. And he gave me a short list of questions that I will ask Charmaine tomorrow. So that'll be tomorrow during the show, and you can check out either the audio stream or you can check out the live video stream as well, and check it out. TNT writes, we know that there are other issues, but as you see, those other issues took the stage last night, and reparations is nowhere to be found, and that's a way to eliminate our interest. They felt it was imperative to talk about immigration issues. It's like one topic for people of color at a time. BS. That's because it was the moderators. I would imagine that NBC, number one, I don't think that, I think that the candidates probably knew the questions beforehand. They get together beforehand and they give the candidates some sense of what they're going to be asked. You can kind of tell by the way they had their responses, right? The responses were ready. And they probably got together and said, okay, we'll talk about this, we'll talk about this, we'll talk about this, we'll talk about this. Because if you notice, none of the candidates even brought up reparations kind of like as a pivot. You know, like nobody even did a pivot. They were pivoting all night long. Like the first question that all of the candidates were asked, no matter what the question was, each and every candidate would pivot and then give you a little bit bio about themselves. But there was no pivot when it came to that. So I definitely hear you on that. But as I said, you know, there's a multitude of issues, kitchen table issues that people care about, that black people care about. And all of those issues have to be addressed. Okay? Listen, I think the reparations would go a long way to deal with, let's say, the racial wealth gap, right? Here in Cincinnati, what is it, $30,000 per year? Which ain't a whole lot of money, unless you ain't got no money, right? $30,000 a year is the gap on average between white households and black households. Reparations would deal with that, almost certainly. Let me see here. Mason Muller writes, exactly, Nate. Some people just don't believe in black people. Only a slave as a master. Mike Davis writes, as Sister V say, reparations now. TNT writes, they just had a hearing on reparations last week. It's been in the topic of discussion this whole time. I am very surprised and disappointed that the first debate for Democrats was absent of that subject. Now that I agree with. And to me, what it underscores is something that we've been talking about. The questions I've had was, is this a real conversation? Is this a real conversation about reparations? Or is this just like, oh, it's campaign time, and so now we want to rise up the black community and try to get them on our side? Because to me, the way I look at it is if this was something that the Democrat Party, if reparations was something that the Democrat Party truly, truly, truly wanted to focus on, they truly believed it, it would have came up last night. It would have came up last night. There's no doubt about it. You know, to TNT's point, they spent all this time talking about it and having these separate meetings and these moments and da-da-da-da-da-da. And then you have the first debate, it doesn't come up. And the rationale will be, oh, okay, so earlier in the day, everyone was talking about the fact that you had this migrant family and 2 members of their family drowned in the Rio Grande. So they'll use that and say, that's the reason why we shifted. But again, I agree with TNT. It's like you spent all this time talking about it months ago, weeks ago. The whole time, people have been looking at it like, wait a minute. Is this real? Is this a serious conversation, or is this just something to say? Now, you know, Drop and, you know, black Republicans and the Republican Party, they've been poking holes at it from day one, like, nah, this is just something the Democrats are just doing. They're trying to attract black people. Because what else are they going to use to attract black people and get our interest? And then you have the first debate, it doesn't even come up, which tells me that I wonder if it's going to come up tonight. I wonder if it's going to come up tonight. I mean, or they might just keep it consistent. You know, it didn't come up on Wednesday, so why bring it up on Thursday? And I agree. That's very disappointing, because to me, what it signals is that it wasn't really real, that they didn't really mean it. That's what it signals to me. Now, I could be wrong. You could get a different signal. You know, I'm not really sure. You can look at it however you want to look at it, but that's the way I look at it. Like, because if it's something you care about, you talk about it. If it's something you care about, you talk about it. And again, there was no pivots last night. All the politicians were pivoting. They were asked a question that they already knew was coming, and then they had a pivot to what they really wanted to say or how they really felt. But nobody did a pivot and said, you know what? This is a good time to talk about reparations. Not one time. They were pivoting all last night like there was Charles Barkley in a low post. But nobody did a pivot toward, you know, talking about why they think the reparations fit into whatever it is they were talking about at that particular point. So let me go back to the phones here. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Guy. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Good morning to you, Guy. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm splendid. I'm splendid.
That's great to
I
hear.
feel great. Yeah. I have a question. What you called me a Judas in the chat? What the hell's a Jew? What does that mean?
You're a traitor, man. You're trying to take over the alt middle from Black Russia.
Oh,
That's what I meant by it.
because I'm thinking like Judas Priest. What is he talking about? Like, what is Judas? I've never heard that term, Judas.
I might have got
Where'd
it
you
wrong.
get that from?
I might have got it wrong.
Oh, yeah, I didn't catch the reference. I'm not sure. Because if you're referring to the Bible, I'm not familiar with that story because I don't read children's novels.
Uh-oh.
But that's another day, another subject.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah. I said it. I went there. I don't give a damn.
Uh-oh.
If you're reading the Bible, you're part of the problem because you can't be woke and Christian.
Uh-oh.
It's an oxymoron.
You can't
But
be woke.
at any rate,
Why not?
no, because you first of all you believe it in a religion that was forced upon you, so you're disqualified immediately. No disrespect to anybody in your family who might be a Christian, but I'm just saying I don't think the two equate.
You know what? I think that's a very interesting flow, man. Worthy of more conversation. I'm gonna circle back around and have that conversation. I like that.
Oh yeah, do
Very
that.
interesting.
Do that. You know, I mean, that's all I do is interesting conversations. But I digress.
Subjective.
Also, you're talking about all them people up there practicing Spanish. Well, hell, they practiced Negro when they was talking about they got hot sauce in their purse. On Arsenio Hall playing the sax. That's how they patronize you. You know, in 4 or 8 years, there's gonna be a candidate up there speaking Mandarin and Cantonese to his Asian folk. You know, talk about Cory Booker, Ichiban. That's number one in Japan, if in case you didn't, for those who don't speak Japan. You know what I'm saying? That's what they do. That's how they patronize you. Politicians are nothing but salesmen. You know, fancy schmancy salesmen. And they're selling you the most expensive item that's available, a dream. That's all. So when they go up there and do that kind of stuff, you know, it's an immediate turnoff because I've seen that act. Now they just translated it into Spanish. Pardon the pun.
Mm-hmm.
You dig what I mean?
I dig what you mean.
Yeah, and you know, so and again, none of those candidates I would vote for anyway. Cory Booker, the black male, he's gay. Rosario Dawson is his beard. This is so obvious. You know, just like Common was Angela Rye's mascara. You know, and beside, like, you know, Cory Booker, why would you be dating Rosario Dawson? I mean, she went from dating Jay-Z to white boys. Now she wants to date a biracial politician. Like, lady, pick your industry of men that you like. And for you to choose her as a woman, Cory Booker, that just shows that you're not cut out to be president. This woman's got a past. I mean, she did well as Lala, and he got game, but after that, you know, she's got a past on her personal life. Yes, your personal choices I pay attention to because you're expecting me to vote for you. And for the love of goddamn God, can we stop with the alt middle slander?
Nobody's slandering.
It's corny at this point. Oh yes, the leader did it. Shut the hell up with that.
Nobody's slandering you. Stop.
The leader is that's the microcosm of black people. You've got to have a damn leader. Somebody's got to be appointed as the leader. Well, meanwhile, any random white bloc can speak on behalf of white women. They don't have a leader, but black folks got to have one. If it ain't Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Sean King, Angela Rye, somebody's got to be considered our leader. That's what I'm talking about.
No,
that's the beauty of the alt middle. We don't do that.
Alt middle. We ain't talking about black folks.
Like I said, it's a microcosm. It's a microcosm because many of these people here listening, you know, if you think it's a joke, it's not funny because it's like it really shows me, like, yeah, you're trapped in this weirdness called North America, and you've been trapped into that thinking. Somebody's got to lead the group, but only black folks have a leader. All the other subgroups don't have leaders. And that's what I'm saying. And I find it to be very apropos to talk about that because, like I said, those feelings about the alt middle are a microcosm of black folks in America. Just think about it. But you don't hear me, though. I'll holler at you at the next moon.
I heard everything you said. Oh, my God. I heard everything you said, Rackham. I heard everything you said. But like I said, I'm telling Black Russia you're trying to take over the alt middle. Stop it. Damn what you just said. Damn all that. Let me see. Kiki writes 100% to the caller. You cannot be woke and Christian. Truth. That's a very interesting conversation that I guarantee you're going to hear. We need to circle back around and have that conversation. How many people agree with what Fame just said? That you can't be woke and Christian. See, that's getting to the heart of people's religiosity. That's getting to the heart of it. You know, and what that really means. You know, that really means that. What do you think? Let me see. Mason Muller writes, alt mental is more like it. Majestic writes, please don't be consumed with reparations talk. Understand the checks and balances of government. Not only the president needs to be on board, but so does the House. Republicans are not voting for reparations. Well, don't say that, Majestic, because people are going to say that you're not black now. And that's the point I'm just trying to make. I think the reparations should have been done a long damn time ago. Until it gets done, this country's full of shit, period. My country, 'tis of these, right? It's the truth. It's the truth. But if we're going to do this, and again, this is how it starts, though, quite honestly. Like, if people don't push the narrative, then it's easy to forget it. So maybe this is how it starts. This is how it starts. And maybe the process starts right now. You know, people also need to be aware of the laws and the potential bills and things out there that are already put in place to deal with reparations. I know the Cincinnati NAACP, they have a bill that they've been supporting to push reparations. So at some point, we got to get behind this and get behind the effort to really make it happen. But you're right, though. It's going to take, it won't just be, like if you had a pro-reparations president and they're pro-reparations, we want reparations, the composition of Congress matters. It matters. That's why I think it's completely fair to ask your local congressman how they feel about reparations. It don't really matter what the level of government is, because it's going to take all the levels of government to really make it happen. It's going to take a lot of people to get on board to make it happen. But what do you think? 513-873-7134. If it was a black news outlet, they would have made it a focus. They would have talked about it. If it was BET, they would have talked about it. Not that it's owned by black folks anymore because it's owned by Viacom, but something tells me it would have talked about it. If Roland Martin was the moderator, he would have talked about it. Okay, if it was News One Now, I believe that reparations probably would have been the very first question. You already know if it was me, that would have been one of the first questions, if not the first question. And justifiably so, because it's been in the media. What else did you not hear that should have been discussed last night? Did anybody stand out to you? Did you find a front runner? I'd like to know. Now, while you share your thoughts or collect your thoughts on that, I want to move on. I want to bring some other things to the discussion, some local issues. I want to swing back around here. So when we kicked off the show, I started talking about a new report. This is coming from a local news channel, WCPO. But there's a new report that was done by the United Way as they tried to diversify their leadership. And what they found is that the United Way has a problem with leadership at the top. And they do have, let me go back over here again, because I remember going to the United Way's website of Cincinnati. And I went to their website last year when Michael Johnson was going through all those issues. And I looked at their leadership staff, because for years and years and years and years, if you go to United Way's website, you can see their leadership staff, and there was a picture of them. They've taken the pictures down. Why? Did the United Way take the pictures of their leadership down because the pictures would tell a story? Like, oh, they don't have no black folks here. Now, I did that live on the air. That was just last year. I haven't been to their website to take a look at anything since probably like January. And you might be like, well, Nate, that's a small thing. Maybe they just redid the website. Maybe, but I just feel, is it just a coincidence that for years and years and years, you go to their website, you can see images of all their leadership staff. It was usually like 5 to 6 individuals, the CEO and the various VPs. And now, after Michael Johnson, and people have been criticizing them and paying attention to their the racial composition of their leadership staff, now they've taken down the images so you can't see. You got to sort of try to figure it out for yourself. And let me see here, United Way of Greater Cincinnati. I'm back on their website now. Matter of fact, let me see if I can do a screen grab and you can just see what I'm scrolling through on my screen. We can put it up on YouTube. But I do know that Jennifer Ingram is the VP of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I don't know if that's a new position, but that position wasn't there last year. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people there. That's the executive team. And so they've added people to the executive team. And I don't know if they've added a new VP position for Jennifer Ingram. I wouldn't be surprised because I knew that's what's going to happen. That's how this city works. Yeah, Jennifer Ingram, she is a sister, VP, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion. She is an African American. So is that what I don't see on here is you got the Chief Marketing Engagement Officer. Very interesting there. Very interesting. Because the picture tells a story. I think it was done purposely. Because before I would go on here and I'd be like, oh, they don't have no black folks. I don't know if Jennifer Ingram was just hired or if she was promoted. I don't know. I don't know if she always had this position and then they just made that position a part of the executive team to make everybody happy. Like, look, we do have some people of color up here, right? We got our black folks. We got them. We good. So we shall see. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, and see, that's just the executive team. What about managers? What about the mid-level managers? How many managers are black? What's the percentage of that? And what's the overall effect of having a nonprofit where the vast majority of the people that they serve are black? But then if you look at the executive team, the vast majority of people in the executive team are non-black. What is the impact of that? How do you quantify that? Majestic writes, I'm not black, I'm majestic. I feel you. Nathan, it was easier to spend time on the immigration issues. They qualified who was a better risk to pander to. That's exactly what happened. That's NBC. NBC said, you know what? Listen, if you think that those people didn't know what the questions were, then you just don't understand how things work. They all knew what the questions were. NBC got with them. I mean, at the point of the debate, the job of the moderator becomes timekeeper. And it's less about moderating the tone of the conversation. It's more about moderating the time and, perhaps asking for clarification. That's how I look at it. And at the very least, if they didn't know what the questions were, they knew what the questions were not going to be. And you can tell because nobody brought up reparations. Not one of them, not even, as I said, a pivot. Nobody said, well, let me make this point. And that's because they all got together and said, okay, not tonight. And I think that speaks volumes. But let's go back to the phones. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning to you, Nate.
Hey, good morning.
This is Cam calling in South Florida.
Hey, Cam, what's up? What's
happening?
I'm doing great, man. Did you watch the debates last night?
I fell asleep. I did. They were on the TV. But, I caught a little bit of it, of the great rhetoric.
The great rhetoric?
But, lots of it.
Yeah. What's on your
mind? Trying to earn votes. So, like I say, I never, this is my second time calling in. I never call in unless it's really something that I catch that is catches my attention, and one thing that, well, a lot of things that's on the show catch my attention, but it's really got to spark my brain cell to be able to react to it. And the last caller, I don't know what is his name, Black Russia. Was that the last caller?
No, that
that
was
talked
Fame.
about
That was Fame.
Fame. Okay. Yeah, Fame about the you can't be Christian and be woke, or you can't be and then he said you can't be into the Bible or reading the Bible as a children's novel and be woke, equating being a Christian that reads the Bible to be woke. I don't really know what, I mean, this question is directed at Fame. You may want to grab a pencil and a piece of paper and write these notes down, because I like to know the answer to these questions, what makes them come up with that statement about being not being Christian and not being able to be woke. First, what is woke? What does that mean? Like, what woke? Does that mean you just woke up in the morning, or does that mean, I don't understand what context he's using woke in. So that would be my first question to him is what is woke? What does that mean? And my second question would be, how are you equating the Bible to Christianity when the Bible is not about Christianity? The whole Bible talks about the Israelites, not about Christians. Christianity is a religion. It's not the Bible. It's a religion that someone used, or a council in 325 AD used to form a religion, just like all the other religions, Christianity, Baptist, Apostolic, Catholic. These are all religions formed off of one book that they call the Bible, that literally means book. Bible means books in Hebrew. And how do you come up with a religion defining whether you're woke or not? I don't understand. So I'm trying to get enlightened on this. And the person that agreed and said that you can't be a Christian and be woke, equating it to the Bible, I'm lost.
Well, that's a fair question. What do you mean by woke? Somebody writes, there's a difference between being woke and conscious. And again,
okay, you're conscious of I mean, are you talking about an elevated level of conscious? Because if you go to the hospital and you have vital signs, they got to say that you're conscious, that you are conscious of what's going on around you. You know, you're conscious of. So what does that mean? I mean, what is this? What do these semantics mean? I don't think anybody really knows, because you're equating consciousness into reading a book and obtaining knowledge. Just because you have knowledge, that doesn't make you woke. That just makes you knowledgeable.
I agree with that point. You're right. I agree with that point. Hold on. Let me see if Fame is still here. He can explain himself. Let me see here. So far, he hasn't posted. Because you're right about that. I mean, woke means like you're alert to injustice. You're woke to what's going on. You're aware of the injustices as it relates to black people, right?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Nate. I don't like the term. I don't like it because it's used loosely, and just because you could be aware of injustice by watching the news. You could be aware of injustice by reading the newspaper. So does learning how to read mean that you're woke? Does learning how to read mean?
Hey, Cam, Fame just responded. He just responded in the chat.
Uh-huh.
He writes, woke meaning cognizant of the peril and situation of black folks. He writes, nobody is arguing semantics, but you do. That's what he wrote. So he says woke to
Okay.
him means being cognizant of the peril and situation of black folks.
So everybody that's cognizant about the perils of black folks, including white folks, including so-called white folks, including whatever race that you are. So everybody's woke then. Everybody's woke that could be cognizant of what they see and what they perceive to be happening in real time, in reality. So in that case, everybody's woke, even the sleeping. So, I mean, do we have a sleep woke? That answer is like weak sauce. It's like watered down sauce. That's not really a logical answer to my question. So everybody that's cognizant is woke of what's going on with black. So Trump is woke, right? Trump woke, right?
By that definition, if Fame just came, you could say that. I think, again, I can't speculate as to what, but let me just try. This is what I think Cam is saying. I mean, that Fame is saying. What I think he's saying is that Christianity is a white man's religion that was used to oppress black people. So I think what he's saying is, how can you subscribe to a religion that oppressed your people and then say that you're aware of the many perils? Because what he's saying is that Christianity is a peril to black people. I think that's what he's trying to say. Fame, correct me if I'm wrong.
So that's a good, you're trying to decipher what he said, but that's a nice try. I appreciate it, but it's off the mark, because if you're saying that you think that's what he's saying, okay, Christianity was used to oppress black people, right? Okay, so everybody would agree, and we basing that on the Bible, right? Because that's the only book that you can use to substantiate the religion of Christianity or any other religion that is saying that they use the Bible to substantiate their religion. So according to the Bible, in the book of Genesis, as well as Exodus, the Egyptians oppressed and enslaved the Hebrews, the Israelites. Now, just by doing a little bit of research, you don't even have to go to the library or anything. Just by doing a little bit of research, you'll see that the Egyptians, as well as the Israelites, based on the Bible and based on geographical location, were both black and brown people. They weren't Christians. These were Egyptians, descendants of Ham, which was Noah's son. These four sons was Cush, Put, Mizraim, and Canaan, which were all black or brown people. They were not Christians. So if they ain't even listening to any hip hop or anything like that, you can go back to some of KRS-One's old songs, "You Must Learn," or some of those songs that substantiates the fact that the first oppressors of black people was black people. Not Christians or Christianity. There was no such thing because there was no Christ yet. So I suggest Fame go back to the drawing board. I mean, either do some more research, some more reading, and wake up again. If you're woke now, you need to go back to sleep, or you need to go back to the drawing board. If you're going to make such profound statements, Christianity wasn't derived until 325 AD. And before that, the Bible does use the word Christian, but the word that is used for Christian they called the Israelites or the apostles of Christ or the disciples of Christ, they called them Christians because they were following Christ as disciples or as apostles. This is long after so-called Christ was already crucified. Christianity is a religion. Christianity does not substantiate the book, the Bible. The entire Bible, if you've read it, is about the Israelites. It's about the children of Israel. Period. If you read the book, I'm not in any religion at all. I read the book. I line the book up with what's going on today, what's went on in the past, who these people are, who so-called black people are, who so-called white people are, who so-called Persians, Iranians, all these people are, and I line that up with the truth and prophecy according to the book. But I like him to answer that question, or what you just said, eloquently said, Nathan, trying to break down what he might be trying to say. But the first people to oppress black people was not white people. The first people to oppress black people was other black people.
Cam, thanks for the flows, man. I appreciate the interesting conversation. Let's see if Fame can call back in and explain himself.
Right on.
All right, Cam, thanks for the call. He's down in South Florida. Appreciate it. Let me jump over to YouTube right now. I want to read your comments. Tanika writes, your YouTube live feed is looking great, Nate. Good morning. Oh, we just getting started, but thank you so much. Erica writes, good morning. Hey, Erica. Yeah, we're over on YouTube. The Nathan Ivey Show. The Nathan Ivey Show. You can check us out right there. Let me see here. I think we got Fame here on the line. He's going to call back in. Let's see. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm back like herpes. What's up?
Well, what's up is that Cam said that what you just said didn't make a lot of sense. Did you hear any of his phone call? And if so, what's your take?
I heard bits and pieces of it, I guess the last part of it, but I wasn't, I was just trying to respond to everything he's saying individually. It was just talking too fast, and I couldn't do it. I'm only so slick with my thumb. But what is this magnificent $64,000 question of his that he won't answer?
What question is that?
That's what I'm asking you. Like, what is it? What is this? I mean, I'd like to hear him answer that question. What question? I said what I said.
Well,
hit dogs holler.
Reiterate it again, just so I can clarify. And I can, if you
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the question was.
No.
I can't read comments while I'm on the phone.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I mean, what he was saying was two things. One, he was saying that, what do you mean by woke? Okay, so,
well, I answered that. I thought I did. And added the working part to it, not just doing and speaking, but actually working towards it. Hit dog holler. I don't know what to tell the man. Maybe I broke. It's kind of like with what's that boy name? That goofy rapper that said he would penetrate Young Ma.
I don't know.
It's one of them new rappers. He said that he would penetrate Young Ma even though she tries to be a guy or whatever. That just broke down and flushed everything Young Ma was trying to represent. And maybe that's what I did with Dude here. It broke down everything that he's just trying to represent and made him think about it in a new light or whatever. Took down his fables.
Well,
from what I understand, the Bible is the only religion with talking animals.
So did you say you can't be, so you said Christian, okay? So you saying every religion? What if you a Muslim? Can you be a Muslim and woke? Or are you just saying you can't be a Christian and woke?
I'm saying you can't be a Christian. That's the first thing.
Why not?
That's the first thing we need to eliminate out of the black community because that was the religion that they used to justify why they was fucking us up.
Right. But that was then and this is now.
And the game ain't changed. Well, the more we done bought into something so messed up, the worse off we've gotten.
Well,
everything we buy from them, it affects us worse. We bought in integration from them, and it messed us up.
And then
I don't think it's a leap in logic to say that Christianity ain't helped us none. So why are we still effing with it?
well, has any religion helped us?
Well, Christianity ain't helped us, and that's the one that we've been most subscribing to.
Yeah, but I'm just
You
trying
know,
to make
remember in the 60s, Malcolm X, Cassius Clay, Malcolm X,
I get
Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, them, that was called that black shit.
Right. I get it. But I'm saying, has any religion helped black people?
Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. I'm not a theological scholar, but I know Christianity hasn't, I don't F with Christians.
Well, that's up to you. I mean, I can't say that I disagree with what you're saying about Christianity because I got my own feelings. I've always said I'm more spiritual than religious.
I mean, I don't need to be. I don't need to come up here and be you don't have to be an esoterical biblical scholar to understand that.
No.
Just some simple deductive reasoning tells you that.
No, you got to clarify it. It ain't as clear as you just said it. Because like he was saying and making a point that what do you mean by woke? If woke is just knowing what's going on, as he was saying, there's a lot of people that's woke. So what is woke to you? And what's the difference between conscious and woke?
I said that. You got to be conscious, know about what's going on, how it's affecting you, and how are you working to eliminate that out of you.
Yeah, but how does that stop
energy,
you? How does that stop you?
That constant bad energy that black folks love to accept.
Okay, so if you're a Christian, I mean, let me push back on you a little bit on this, just for the sake of the conversation. So if I'm a Christian, right? I'm a black Christian living in 2019. I live in Cincinnati. I go to church on Sundays, I pay my tithes, and I try to be a good neighbor. At the same time, I'm down for the cause. I'm for reparations. I know racism is real. I'm out here in the community. You tell them you can't do both things? What stops you?
Because eventually, somebody's gonna pull that Christian card on you.
What's the Christian card?
They can never pull the black card on you.
What's the Christian card?
You know how we're all one. We're all Americans. You know, they throw in some type of energy. Try to throw in some type of energy to offset yours and stagnate your energy. But they can never do that as long as you're thinking black first. And if you're going to Christian church praising Jesus, you're not thinking black first.
What if you praise black Jesus? I mean, there's black people out there that when they think of Jesus, they think of a black man.
Well, exactly. And Florida Evans didn't. She wouldn't readjust her attitude to preserve the Evans legacy, and what happened?
Yeah, but that's a fictional character. We're talking about real people. Like I know people.
It was based on real life events.
Well, no, it was based off white writers who wrote that show, Good Times, and it was a real.
I thought it was based off the guy who wrote Cooley High's life.
I thought it was written and directed by white folks. And
forget I made it because we're on different ends of that.
So what
I'm sorry, I apologize.
I know black people who identify as Christian, and they every bit as woke, at least they appear to be, every bit as woke and pro-black as anybody else. Like
who? Damon Lynch III who's selling weed?
Well, I'm not going to put no names out there, but I'm just saying I know those kind of people. I mean, in this community, and they hit the streets. They believe in what they believe in, but I thought it was an interesting conversation, man. You know what I like to do? I like to get the two of you to have on the phone line at the same time to have that conversation and flesh it all out. Now that would be interesting.
I mean, we could do that, but like I said, I mean, I'm not sparing feelings. You know what I'm saying?
You don't have to.
I'm not sparing feelings in the whole thing. I find that, you know, after a certain amount of time, given our entire history in this country with Christianity, at some point, black folks, we would have jettisoned that as a group. Whether we jettison religion or not as a group, definitely get rid of Christianity. That's all I'm saying. If that offends anybody, I mean, you know, Miss Pat, I love her to death. She don't like that. You know, she disagrees with that totally. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, nothing personal, Miss Pat. Just how I feel. You know, she know how I feel about her. You see what I'm saying? But I'm not going to be sparing people's feelings if we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it in the real terms.
Right. You entitled to your opinion. Absolutely. Y'all day
no,
long.
Okay.
You don't have to be
okay,
right. You don't have
fine.
to be wrong. That's just your opinion. I just thought it was an interesting conversation. So I'm glad you called back in to clarify. I think we should link up, man. Let's link up on a conference call one day live on the air, and then we can talk it all out.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And while we're on the subject of religion, I'll holler at the future moon.
All right, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, that would be interesting to me. I think that'd be worth my while because I can't really speak for Cam, and I can't speak for Fame. I can't speak for them. All I can do is try to decipher what I think I hear. All right, it's 9:06 a.m. and my time is very, very short. I will not be with you until 10 a.m. this morning. I will be leaving the show a little bit earlier. I had anticipated doing it at 9 a.m., but I forgot to put it out there. So we'll at least go until 9:15 a.m. this morning, and we'll keep the conversation going. Now, if there's something that I haven't brought up that you think is very relevant and pertinent to the conversation, what's going on today, we talk about 24 hours, what's happening right now, what's going on right now, then hit me up, 513-873-7134, and we can chop it up. Pat writes, you can't make me doubt him. I know too much about him. Mrs. Love Being Black writes, no religion has helped black people. That's why we need to have spirituality and not religion. Well, look, Mrs. Love Being Black, that's the reason why I asked him that question. What religion has helped black people? I'm not saying that there is none. I'm just asking the question. I'm just putting it out there. All right, we got another call here. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy, and all the beautiful people in Cyber Wakanda, a.k.a. Choppers. This is your Westside Connection, Drop Star 52. How are you doing, Mr. Ivy?
I'm doing great. Welcome to the show, Drop.
Thank you, sir. I joined your show probably around 5:30. But anyway, I went back and looked at some of the chatter in the chop shop, and I'm not even going to say much on that last call because the term woke started with Maxine Waters, and she used it in a speech or a rally to make sure that everyone who did not show up or who did show up in 2016 and lost to Trump to stay woke until the next election. So for me, what woke means is remember to show your black ass up at the polls in November and vote Democrat. That's all woke means. So anyway, the reason I called, sir, there is no black interest in voting for any of these people in the Democrat Party. That's why NBC and their moderators chose not to bring up the issue of reparations, because that debacle that took place in Congress last week, the whole reparations hearings, it did not poll well, Nate. And I'm telling you right now, that's what happened. Because how can Cory Booker, the number 2 player on Team Light Skin 2020, not mention it? I mean, come on, Nate. He always want to bring up his hood, how people that got shot and stabbed in his neighborhood right down the block. But he couldn't bring up reparations. He spoke at the hearings, Nate. Nate, he was one of the speakers at the reparations hearing.
True that. You're absolutely right about that.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay, so what does that tell you, Nate?
It tells
you
It tells you that reparations is a disposable issue to them.
It tells you it is not polling well with black people. Nate, they do their own internal polling. Politicians, everything is strategic. Everything is planned. Because you even said it earlier. You said that more than likely the candidates got the questions first, because you said they were always ready and no one pivoted onto the subject, which everyone had the opportunity to, especially Mr. Spanish habla inglés Cory Booker. Nate, I'm telling you, I couldn't even get my drink on or my smoke on last night because they didn't even mention black voters or they did not mention reparations. So, Mr. Ivy, I know your show is going to be short today. I just wanted to get my 2 cents in because I'm telling you, Nate, the Democrat Party, I hate to keep repeating this, they are going to lose because of what's happening here in this beautiful state of California, even though it's run by crazy liberals. This issue at the border, Nate, I'm telling you, that's why you had Cory Booker speaking Spanish, because they know, Nate, they need to deal with this more than they need to deal with reparations for black folks. So That's all I got, Mr. Ivy. You continue to wrap up your show, and I'll continue to listen. Drop Squad 52, dropping science to anyone who wants to catch it. Peace.
Peace, man. Appreciate it. That's Drop. I got a call while Drop was on the line. And if you're listening, call me right back and I'll put you right on. It's from a 293 number. Call me right back and I'll put you straight on. Okay, I had Drop on the line. So again, if people are interested, we can do that very, very simply. I'll simply conference call you into the conversation and we can link it up. And, people were talking about having conversations, caller to caller. I'm down with that. Let's do it. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
What's up, Nate?
What up? What up, Minister?
What's up? Not much.
How you
Hey,
doing?
I got my bad. I know your time is short, but hey, I got a question. What
Sure.
I get paid tomorrow with CCW class?
Yeah, check your email, Minister. I've had a couple of just check your email. Just check your email and I'll hit you up to make sure you get in. I've already got you on the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss it. All right, Nate.
You certainly won't miss it. Yeah, I already got you.
Yep. Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, that's it?
Yep. That's it.
Okay. I appreciate it, man. Take it easy.
Yep.
Yeah, we are doing a CCW class, and I just want to make sure that we have that we have everything that we're looking for. That's it. I just want to make sure we have everything that we're looking for. Appreciate that call, Minister, but I got you already, bro. Trust me. I believe CCW, arming yourself legally, understanding how to navigate the laws here in Ohio is a very important step in protecting yourself and protecting your family. So you are definitely on the list, and we got you. I will not do a class without you. Trust me on that. I will not do a class without you. I'm still here. I mean, probably maybe to 9:30 or so. Then we can keep going. 513-873-7134. So do you think the reparations will come up tonight? Probably not. I could tell just by the way it didn't even come up at all. Not even a pivot, not even a sidebar, not even anything. So what that tells me is one or two things. Either the candidates already knew what the questions were, and if they didn't know what the questions were specifically, like word for word, they had a general idea of what they were. But what it also tells me is they all got together and decided that we were certainly not going to talk about this. And I think it says something. And then how could they bring up reparations tonight? If reparations comes up tonight on the Thursday night debates, tonight you're going to have Bernie Sanders. You're going to have Joe Biden. All right? The big question for mainstream media is, can Joe Biden withstand the onslaught? Everybody's predicting that tonight's going to be a lot more aggressive because the candidate that's being perceived as the front runner, which is Joe Biden, whether you agree with him or not, that's what people are saying. That candidate is going to be on the stage tonight. So if you're the front runner, everybody knows it, they're going to be gunning for you. So it might be some fireworks. We shall see. Kamala Harris tonight. Pete Buttigieg tonight. Okay? I want to see Kamala Harris. I want to see how she does. I want to see Biden. Are they going to ask Biden about some of his embarrassing comments in the past? Are they going to ask Biden about his support of the crime bill? He's going to double down on it. He's already done that. I don't anticipate reparations is going to come up at all tonight. I don't anticipate it because it'll be like, well, why tonight and not yesterday? It'll be uneven. And, I think that's going to come out to, let me double check here. Let me see all of the debates. Let me give you a full schedule of the debates in 2019 so you can have a better idea of what's going to happen. Okay. And also who the moderators are going to be. People don't like Roland Martin, but some tells me that if Roland was there, he would have asked the questions about reparations because that's what black people are talking about right now. All over the country, that's what people are talking about. I didn't start the conversation. It was started by others. All right, let me see if I can find the debate schedule for you. And as I said, I'm going to host a watch party coming up. People said they want to do it on Monday. That's just not enough time to turn around in the way that I want to do it. So we shall see. So here it is. Tonight you're going to have Gillibrand, Bennett, Biden, Buttigieg, Harris, Hickenlooper, Sanders, Swalwell, Williamson, and Yang. The Democratic National Committee has sanctioned up to 12 debates starting in June. And the debates are going to be, matter of fact, I'll post a link. The next debates will be in September. Now, when we get to the debates in September, that's when it really starts to matter. Not that it doesn't matter now, but when you start to whittle down the candidates, we've got some more time here. People can process it. And this is when people are going to start to really sort of focus in on who their candidate might be or who their candidates might not be. The third debate is going to be the second week of September. This is going to be the ABC News Democratic primary debate. And you've got debates in October. You got a plethora of debates. I mean, again, the actual conventions will be in 2020, and the actual election is going to be in 2020. So we're over a year and 3 months away from this, 3 or 4 months away from this. So we've got plenty of time. We ain't got to rush. We got plenty of time to get this down. Pat writes, glory. Bunky writes, agree, fame. Religion is the number one problem that's holding black Americans back. Complacent, obedient, and effing docile. MLB exactly. Someone writes, reparations is truly about economics. The U.S. government benefited tremendously from their economic model of the free labor and tyranny. They certainly did. I agree with that. And I also agree with, if you look at the economic issues that black people and African Americans are dealing with in this city and around this country, then a lot of them have to deal with economics. And so if you got an influx of $100,000, or $200,000, okay? My question is this. If every black household, and by black I mean somebody comes up with a calculation and determines how you put this money out. If every black household got a $150,000 check for reparations, how much of it is going to be eaten up in debt? And does it really matter? Think about this. If every black household was debt-free, are we winning? If whatever your debt is was wiped away, whether it be utility debt or it be student loan debt or it be mortgage, house, or car, if every black household, if 85% of black households had their debt eliminated, are black people in a better position? You're damn skippy they are. That frees up cash you can go out there and start to invest in, build businesses, take care of our own. Let's see. Bunky writes, Mama Pat, step aside. See, there you go. Being disrespectful. We're not going to disrespect Pat this morning. Sarinthia writes, good morning. Karamir writes, doesn't that book talk about enslavement? Who was us? Stealing us from Africa, brought to America? Genesis 15:13. They will be in bondage and oppressed 400 years. Taylor writes, organized religion versus spirituality, trying to figure out who on what he's saying. Jesus is black with hair like lamb's wool. Again, everyone has a different viewpoint. There are people, I know black people that would classify themselves as Christian. They go to church, they praise. They might not, I don't think they're praising a white Jesus. They look at Jesus as black, and they still look at themselves as black. They're pro-black. They're about black causes, and it means something to them. It means something to them. Does that mean that they're any less of a black person or any less conscious or woke because they go to church? I wouldn't say so, but some people might. Now, I have my own personal viewpoints. I've talked in great deal about me falling out with religion, not necessarily Christianity, but organized religion. And I look at myself as a much more spiritual being. I don't go to church on a regular basis, but when I do go to church, I enjoy myself. And I sit there, I enjoy the singing, I enjoy being around good people, black people at the church that I would attend over at Corinthian Baptist Church, and I enjoy it. I enjoy being around that spirit. You know, sometimes you get a little charge. Does that mean that everything the pastor say, I'm running to the Bible and trying to remember and I'm taking it to heart? No. But, you know, I think that you can, I think Mike Davis says this all the time, and he's so right about this. I think that you can eat the flesh and spit out the bones. Like, we do that too selectively. Like, we selectively do that with people that we like and want to do it with. But then with other people, we want to hold them to everything. So that's how I look at it. I mean, you can go to church and be just as woke as the next person, but church gives you something. You know, it charges you. You like the music. There's a common spirituality with the people there. Or you might just be hardcore into the Bible scriptures and you reading. It don't mean you're any less of a black person, any less woke, per se. Per se. I mean, there's people that go to church and they fully understand the contradictions in Christianity and religiosity, but they eat the flesh and spit out the bones. So I just carve out a lane for people that, you know, for other people, you know, to do what they do. Okay, that's just how I look at it, but, you know, you might look at it differently. All right, okay, so I'll give you a sense of the next debate. So the next debate is going to be in September, and they're going to have one like every other month leading up to, it looks like, April. The last debate is going to be in April of 2020. So a little less than a year from now. So we've got like 11 months, 10 months worth of debates. That's a hell of a long time. That's a hell of a long time. Anything can happen between then and now. We might get a completely different candidate between then and now. Okay? We might get a completely different candidate. You know, people saying Joe Biden and all the big names, that don't mean a damn thing. Something happens in the media or somebody takes center stage because of something that happens, and then now we got a new front runner. So we'll wait and see. And, of course, I'll be here, your eyes and ears. We can break it down together. All right, let me go over to check out your chat before we roll out this morning. There was one thing that I didn't get a chance to talk about. I might circle back around and talk about this, but I feel like I've already talked about it already. And that is that Pastor X is in the media again. This time WCPO. They're going after Pastor X, y'all. Jeff Pastor. Now, this is not new news. This is not new news. Okay? This news has been around for some time. I talked about this. It was reported by City Beat Magazine. I'm sorry, it was reported by the Cincinnati Business Courier. City Beat Magazine jumped on board as well a little bit. And the idea is they're talking about Jeff Pastor and some of the contributions, the donations that he and a nonprofit that he works for or he was running had given out during the election. So apparently $310,000 was given to Cincinnati churches during the last election cycle from a nonprofit that was not run, or should I say Jeff Pastor was affiliated. I see Glenn posted this 2 hours ago. Damn. That's not a good look. But again, this is old news. I mean, I read through the article and I didn't see anything that was particularly new about it. You know, we talked about this already. The only thing about it is that this particular article had more details. Like, it had more details as to who got what. And there's even some quotes in there from KZ Smith, who is the pastor at Corinthian Baptist Church. I just saw KZ a couple days ago. Shout out to KZ Smith. The church is beautiful. So happy for the people over there. I just love to see happy black folks, man. Love to see it. It's beautiful, beautiful place of worship, and not just worship. You know, I look at that church, as I look at many churches, as being the original community resource centers. So you may or may not be aware of it, but for many, many years, there was a push to transform your Cincinnati Public School into a community resource center where people from the community could come into the school and they could maybe use the computer lab, or maybe they're taking a wellness class, an enrichment or wellness class at the school, right? So your kid is in aftercare or before care, and then mom or dad is doing yoga, or mom and dad are learning, you know, a new language or some kind of other skill, right, in the school building. The problem with it is the liability. That's what we ran into, is that you had some principals that had a heightened sensitivity to the liabilities of having people in their school building after hours. Because think about it. If a school building is open after hours, that means security. That means the lights are on longer. That means the janitor has to work a little later or come in earlier to clean up the mess, right? If there is a mess. It means, it just means more resources. And not every school building was really ready, equipped to do that. I know Euler has had a lot of success with their community learning center model. There's some others, but Euler stands out to me, okay, here locally. Right? So, but I look at the churches doing that. That's what they're doing over the Corinthian Baptist Church, man. They've got a daycare center. Man, it is great over there. They're working with the Community Action Action Agency to provide those services. I know for a fact they're doing other things. The church is the original community learning center. So for me, despite how I might feel about religion, I can still see the usefulness in what these churches are bringing to the table and what they're doing for their members and the community. And I respect that. I don't have to be super Christian guy and read the Bible 40 minutes a day. I don't have to do all of that in order to respect what people are doing, okay, in order to want to support what other people are doing. That's how I look at it. Now, other people might look at it differently. I'm just saying how I look at it. But there's another story out about Jeff Pastor, and apparently he gave out a total of $310,000 to black churches. In return for this, he was able to get in front of the congregation, not talk about his campaign, but just to talk about, what he was doing and why he was doing it. And, that's very important. That's very important. That's very, very important. I mean, if you're running for office and you get a chance to stand up in front of a church and say, hey, listen, we care so much about what you're doing. We're going to bless you with $35,000. You better believe the members of that church are going to remember that come election time. You don't have to get up there and start talking about your campaign. All you got to do is just get up there. You know what I'm saying? And the candidate will do the rest. And Jeff Pastor, as I understand it, grew up in the church. I mean, he is, I think the reason why he got elected is because people liked him. He comes across as very, very authentic and, growing up in the church, he know how to talk to black people in the church. I've seen it. I was in the church over at New Prospect Baptist Church. Before he was elected, I was a part of a panel. And I saw it and I felt it firsthand. People really responded to him in a really positive way. So if you got someone who's got that kind of magnetism, he's got that kind of charisma that Jeff Pastor has, and you get an opportunity to stand up in front of the church, well, it's showtime now. It's all up to you. And obviously, he did a damn good job because he got elected. I see that Michelle Dillingham is going super hard on Facebook. And what she does is that, like, whenever there's an article about Jeff Pastor, like, I don't know if you notice or not, but you probably do. Cincinnati.com only allows you so many free views of their content online. After that, they put it behind a paywall. So what she does is she copies and pastes the whole damn article and puts it up on Facebook so people can see it. Now, Jeff Pastor came in 9th. She came in 10th. So we understand that. And I think she also has some issues with his politics. But I'll say it again. Jeff Pastor won because Jeff Pastor won. He won because people connected with him. Billboards or whatever, it don't really make a difference if you don't have the energy and the charisma to connect with people. And obviously, I believe he did. So I'm not going to get all into it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we've been there, done that. And there's other things. But that is in Mason Marley writes, Pastor X, #suspect. Majestic writes, so we can expect Pastor X to run his black ass back to the black community. I bet he care about Judge Tracy public lynching because he is next. I don't see that happening with Jeff Pastor. I don't see there being any kind of public lynching of Jeff Pastor. Mrs. Love being black writes, and if you read Psalms of Solomon, it talks about the daughters of Zion being black and beautiful. It's all about the mindset of what you're reading. That's why it's best to be spiritual minded and not following the doctoring of religion. I'm with you on that. Susan V writes, I do believe that there's some truth that Christianity has played a role in our sometimes docile and wait on Jesus mentality. I agree. Churches on every corner and storefront. Black preachers on the payroll of our elected officials. Check out a book called Holy Lockdown. It's a great read on this issue, but let's not forget that Nat Turner was a Christian too. So it really does play some role in our thinking and lack of movement. Right, turn the other cheek. You'll get yours in heaven. Damn it, I want mine now. I'm alive right now. Bunky writes, Nate, Pastor X touched your spirit, huh? Lord Jesus. Well, I mean, my thing about this is this. I'll say it again. I think that we need black people to be a part of the Republican Party. If we all serious about having a black agenda, the black agenda is not party bias. It's black bias. It's not, it don't matter if you a Democrat, a Republican, a charter right, Green Party, whatever. If it don't fit your agenda, you don't rock with them. And if it does, then you do. And that's how I've always looked at it. That's why I say it, and people got it all wrong. I follow the drama. When this story first broke, that was drama. Now it just seems like overkill. I'm just being honest with you. So, and I'm true to my word. You know, what I said is what I did. I said, it's too early to judge Jeff Pastor. He just got on council. So despite all this stuff with money and millionaires and nonprofits that don't matter, let's wait and see what the brother does once he gets on council. And that's what I'm going to do. You know, I think people deserve a fair shot. And I've been around, I watched a few things. As I said, he's got a charisma that connects with people. Okay, especially in a church setting, because that's how he grew up. I've seen it. It carried forward. And, you know, the images of him in a uniform just was the icing on the cake. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, that it doesn't mean I agree with his politics. There's some things he said and have votes that I'm like, man, I would have did something different. But at the same time, I can respect somebody else for their own originality. So let me see. Bunky writes, real talk, Mahler, Pastor played down his Republican allegiance. He played it all the way down. People didn't even know he was a Republican. They weren't saying that. And not only did he play it down, speaking of Jeff Pastor, but then when he talked about it, he connected it to a great black icon, Malcolm X. So it kind of softened it a little bit, right? But he certainly played it down, and it worked. Michelle is mad because Pastor had the nerve to defeat a white woman. Mason Mahler writes, you incognito mode to get around paywall. I do it all the time. Drop writes, it's always about the money. Politics is not about business, is about business, not personal. Cream, he writes. Mason Mahler writes, he got elected because he put up fathead campaign signs without putting party affiliation on it. Vote for the black guy-ish. Yes, he did. He certainly did, and it worked. And I guarantee you, in the upcoming city council election in 2021, you're going to have candidates that are going to be following the Jeff Pastor model. I guarantee it, because it worked. I guarantee it. I guarantee that you're going to have a black man or black woman or person, it could be a non-black person, that runs for city council, and they had experience in law enforcement or military experience, and you're going to see them in a uniform and the whole 9 yards, because it conveys something to people that can be very, very positive for a candidate. And if I have military experience and I'm running for office, I want people to know too. That's what you do. But again, I'm trying to figure out where this story is coming from. Again, we talked about this a damn year ago. Where is there something new to it? Is there something new? Report. If there's nothing new, then it's like, well, what's the nature of the article? Why is it coming out now? You know what I'm saying? Are they trying to make Jeff Pastor look bad? If they're doing that, it's pretty early, because people got a short memory. You know, the election, if he runs for city council again, that ain't until 2021. That's 2 years from now. Nobody's going to remember this article. Or are they laying the groundwork? To my lotto folks, we haven't been to lotto in a couple of weeks, but $1 million Powerball ticket was sold in Northern Kentucky. Told you, Cincinnati's due for a winner. A $1 million Powerball ticket was sold in Northern Kentucky. I almost went to Northern Kentucky the last time we played to get our tickets. Cincinnati is due for a big winner. Let me know. All right, let me read the rest of your comments, and I got to get out of here, folks. Thank you so much for being here. Clue writes, that was spot on, Drop. You know it, my guy. You know he's talking about with cats like you. Drop writes, Pastor X is going to bring recreational marijuana to Cincinnati. He probably will. Mike Jones writes, Pastor X is a corporate shill. He voted for FC Cincinnati and Children's Hospital. Well, again, I mean, you know, if those are the folks that help you get elected, then those are the folks that once you get elected, you're gonna have allegiance to. That's one way of looking at it. The other way is maybe he naturally feels that way about it. You know, the issue. I don't know. I had a black person get upset because I used a black Jesus in a presentation. Keep your religion between you and your God. A black person got mad at you about using black Jesus? That's ridiculous. Mrs. Love Being Black writes, same question. Who the fuck is Mohammed? At Mike D. No, I think when they said smart dumb cats, he was referring to black Trumpettes and those who support or think like they do. I could be wrong. I'm speculating. LMAO. The smart dumb cats are the people that outsmart themselves when it comes to voting. But you can apply that to a lot of different situations. Mike Davis writes, who the fuck is Jesus? Asking for a friend, Council of Nicaea. Oh, you had to bring up the Council of Nicaea, huh? Let's see. This will go in the Bible. This won't. Oh, this don't jive. Oh, no, we can't have that in the Bible. We'll put this in the Bible. Say, Nate, how many hook shots I got to hit to have a coffee summit with Wind Down Wednesday? Man, I support what they're doing over there. Tuck Radio, I support it. I support what everybody's doing. I really do. Majestic writes, I do agree the Hispanic vote is much stronger than the black vote. I don't know what the numbers are. I mean, that's what the mainstream media would tell us, but the mainstream media wants to tell us that every black man don't take care of every family, every black man is impoverished, that black people are impoverished, that black people are pro-crime, that black people hate police. You know, the mainstream media tells us a lot of stuff. And so now they're pushing this narrative that Hispanics are before blacks. Is that true? Well, if you look at some of the numbers, even in Cincinnati. And why is that? You know, I think it's not just organizing efforts. I think it's how Hispanics look at one another. I think maybe it's a unity inside the Hispanic community. The second thing is that Hispanics don't have the same history with this country that black folks do. They ain't got the same history. It's different. And so therefore, maybe they don't have some of the same issues. Again, I'm speculating. I'm open to all opinions on this. I'm open to all opinions. See, he said step aside. I'm trying to get back to your chat here. I missed a whole bunch. Majestic writes, the earlier statement, have you believed the non-believers were cursed with black skin to illustrate the non-believers of Christ? Oh, damn, we getting way into the Bible now. Okay, I think I pretty much got most of your comments and questions in this morning. Let me jump over to YouTube to my folks that's on that stream. Thank you so much for checking me out. If you're the kind of person that can check out, you like video, you can check it out. Also, it'll be up on my YouTube stream on my page. You can check out the stream whenever you want to. It's up there for you to watch, to listen at your leisure, and I'll leave it just like that. And with that, I'm going to make a move. Listen, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. I'll be back tomorrow morning, bright and early. We will chop it up, okay? Have an excellent Thursday. If you want to contact me, today's a little bit of a lighter day, so please do so. And you can hit me up on Facebook. My email address is nathansflow@gmail.com. And listen, I love what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from the audience. And what I'm hearing is people want to move from talk to action. Now, if you're serious about that for black folks, that means we have to support positive efforts. And I support all positive efforts to support black people. But for this audience in particular, for folks that can hear my voice, if you're serious about that and you live in the Cincinnati area, I'm going to unveil an idea to you in the coming weeks, very near Independence Day, because that's going to be the declaration of our independence here in the city of Cincinnati. And it could be something you might want to be involved in. And you've got multiple levels in which you can be involved. And I'll share with you really, really soon. We keep talking about Hispanics. What are they doing different? Well, I've done some research. I've got an idea. And it's something we can apply to the black community here in the city of Cincinnati. So if you're serious about that, because that's how I am. If people say something to me like, Nate, I want to do something. Well, I'm gonna put it in place and hold you accountable. And I keep hearing this from the audience. We want to do something. Well, I've got something that we can do. And it supports other efforts that I've seen and I continue to see in the city of Cincinnati as well. I want to support other people's efforts, people that are already on the right track. And at the same time, create a new lane where we can have a positive impact for black people in the city of Cincinnati. Because the time is now. We're getting ready for another election cycle. We cannot do the same old things that we've always done. We can't do it. They say that is insanity. Doing the same old thing, but you're expecting something different. They say that's insanity. Okay, I ain't insane. Maybe I am just a little bit crazy. But you get the point I'm trying to make. So thank you for being here. I'll be back with you bright and early tomorrow morning. I'm just going to go out real, no music. We just leaving, going straight out cold. Have a great day, and we'll talk real soon.